School.
$1 a day for all three. Call Performance Remodeling at
You're live,
586-540-6000
Good morning,
or
Facebookers.
online at windowsroofingsiding.com.
The great voice of the Great Lakes. This is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Well, good morning. It is 5:37 on Tuesday, September 29th. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Thanks for dropping by. WJR 760, where Detroit comes to talk. We're also live on Facebook, and we are on YouTube today, so you can check us out there as well, or later in the day you can watch us. The team is here. We have Brian Morton in the studio, and Ann Thomas is here live on Facebook and on WJR. Good morning, Ann. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning to you, Kev. Good morning to everyone.
Good to see you. Dana Clark is back today after a day off yesterday. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. A little technical difficulties.
I don't want any complaining. You're working a short week here.
That's right. No complaints. You're right. Like that. I'm 100%.
100%. And Marie Osborne is with us. Marie, how are you today?
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, we got some serious news to talk about right off the bat. It is National Coffee Day today, folks. That means there's free coffee out there.
Cheers.
There's coffee right close by, real close. One, two,
I don't have
three.
mine.
Dina.
This is how bad it is here.
You're discombobulated.
I'm all messed up.
Dina, you've got to get your act together.
I know. Starting with the hair. I really don't know what's going on here. Everything's awry. Anyway, yes, coffee day. What's your favorite coffee?
Yes. So where do you guys like to go? I mean, are you the Starbucks fans? Do you like Big B, a Michigan brand, or where do you go? Dunkin' Donuts? What's your favorite?
I don't usually go out to get coffee, but if I do, Starbucks. I like Starbucks.
I had Big B. I would like to try Big B because I hear so many good things about it, but I have just not gone there. So for me, it would be Starbucks as well. But Dunkin' has good coffee too.
Big B, of course, is a Michigan company, but I recommend a place in Hazel Park, Ferndale. He's right on the border. It's called Chirazo, and he does his own roasting, and he's got a very interesting backstory, a Michigan company, of course. And if you want really, really exceptionally great coffee, that's where you need to go. It's on 9 Mile.
Okay.
Good to know.
It's fabulous. And then I mean, we always make our coffee here like Ann, but I have my own barista.
Oh, stop it.
Very nice.
Seriously, we have more coffee equipment. He's always coming home with some kind of new coffee equipment, espresso maker and Nespresso maker. And,
I heard that's really good.
Oh, Nespresso is very good. Highly recommend. Kevin, do you make your own or do you go out?
I make my own coffee. It's Folgers. I put it in a thermos that sits in the car all day. I'll drink it hot or cold. I don't care. I bring it with me all the time. But my daughter loves Starbucks. She loves going to Starbucks. So we have this sort of daddy-daughter time when we go to Starbucks. And so she goes and she gets her frappa, whatever it is. Right now it's pumpkin spice, I guess. And so I every single time get a Venti, which is the large for those of you who don't know the lingo. I get a Venti ice water and I get it for free. And I figure that it's like a 2-cent rebate it costs them for their straw and their ice and their plastic.
It's like you're getting them back, huh, Kev?
I'm getting them back. You see where I'm going, Dana? I'm getting them back.
I like that.
On their $7 coffee they charge my daughter, I'm getting 2 cents back on a free ice water. But I like that. I like that big cup. I like that big cup of ice water. It sits there all day. I enjoy that. It's a little Starbucks trick if you're looking for free coffee. But if I am buying coffee, I typically go into like a 7-Eleven where it's really you can see which one's really fresh and you can look at it and grab it. And I think it comes back from just being on the police beat all those years. You go in and out of so many police stations. You just get this rough coffee, and so you got used to this homemade kind of coffee thing. It may be more of a memory than anything else, but I rarely go into to a place and get one of those fancy coffees. However, I have had like McDonald's recently started making a bunch of fancy coffees, and so I've tried those, and they're pretty good. But today's a good day, especially for people like me who are cheap. You can get a free coffee almost anywhere. Even Krispy Kreme is giving out free coffee, and Dunkin' is giving out free coffee. Starbucks has a free coffee plan today, so you have to look before you go. Don't just trust me on it. But if you're gonna brave the public and get out there today, today's a good day to try it for National Coffee Day. So, cheers, gang.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll take a quick break here on the Paul W. Smith Show and be right back with more. Let's check weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Traffic First also sponsored by Shelving.com. Shelving.com has been providing wire and metal shelving, unirack, pallet racking, and space-saving products for 60 years. They now also carry trusted Milwaukee tools to get your warehouse or business equipped for the job at hand. Maximize space and work performance. Visit Shelving.com. That's Shelving.com. We rack your world. We do have a police situation working in Westland, Palmer Road, both directions, eastbound and westbound between Vinoy and Merriman. That is closed. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Cremation Society of Michigan for over 32 years. The Cremation Society of Michigan has been providing dignified cremation services without the cost of traditional funerals. For cremation information, contact the Cremation Society of Michigan at 1-800-241-3131 or visit cremationmichigan.com.
It'll be cool here as we head through the next couple of days with a reinforcing shot of chilly air coming on in. Clouds mixed with sunshine this morning. See a little more cloud later today, 63. Tonight, a few clouds around 48. Suburbs a little bit cooler. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagicon, News Talk 760 WJR.
It's 5:44 a.m. on the Paul W. Smith Show. Let's check in with Rush Limbaugh.
The Amazon Prime Washington Post.
Oh, we lost our Rush Limbaugh feed. Usually
It is on the air though, because I can
It's
hear
on the
it
air?
over my
Let's
head.
turn
Yeah,
it down.
that's
Let's
it.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we just as long as we didn't all of a sudden go off.
No,
So-
it's here. It's on the air.
Okay.
So the wildfires finally caught my attention out there now that the wineries are burning.
Now you saw that one of the popular. Did you see that one of the popular ones is?
It said Chateau Boswell. I've not been, so I don't know. But 11,000 acres. It's one of the more famous ones in Saint. How do you say that? Helena.
St. Helena,
But it's in the Napa Valley. The Napa Valley.
The Napa Valley.
It's
Yeah,
so
that's-
beautiful there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yes, so beautiful there.
I also heard that some of the grapes, and the leaves were starting to smell like smoke.
Oh.
Oh,
Because,
that's bad.
Mm.
and it's really troubling for the wine industry.
So
Because-
all the wine next year will have a woodsy taste to it. Isn't that
Right.
something
That's
wine
what I was
people
thinking.
say?
Smoky
It'll
note.
say smoky,
Smoky note.
toasted,
Smoky. Yes.
Smoky edition.
toasted Chardonnay.
Rush Limbaugh noon
I
to
like
3
that.
today, right here on WJR.
Oh, he came back for a minute there.
The Facebook fans were cheering. There might not be a rush on today. Oh, that's not good. Bill
So
Bray's not a coffee drinker. He laughs at those who drink coffee and say, "I need a cup of coffee before talking." I find that most people who don't drink coffee at all drink like Diet Pop in the morning.
yes, Diet
One
Coke.
or the other, which probably isn't any better. But it seems most people need some sort of jolt.
Some people
do.
like tea. I've heard some people say they like
Yes.
tea in the morning.
I have this one friend who he gets up and he drinks 2 full glasses of water as soon as he wakes up, and he says it just gets everything going and it starts his day right. And
Oh, I've
I
heard.
wish I could do that.
I'm being told my mic is muddy. Is it okay with everybody or no?
It's
Sounds
better
fine to me.
now. It's actually better now.
now.
Mm-hmm. Sounds better to me now, Marie.
Huh.
See,
All right, let me
technical
do a quick
problems
test.
everywhere. Oh,
Well, now
Mountain
I
Dew,
can't
Patrick said. That was better.
This is better?
Yes.
Way better.
Okay. Well, then I can't use my ears here.
Ears.
This-
Can you
I'm
hear
gonna-
us without your ears?
Yeah, but I am going to have to plug this in when I go on the air to keep your volume. I'll work this out, but this is something that will have to be dealt with. Yeah.
Call Ray.
I'll check in with Ray and get that taken care of.
It,
But
there
this
might,
is better. Okay.
it is better. Yeah, you sound much better.
Okay. So,
So-
who's staying up late? Are we all staying up late?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Oh,
Is it starting
yeah.
At 8 or 9? What's
9.
happening?
9.
Oh, gosh.
90
I have
minutes.
to watch at least an hour.
90 minutes.
You
90
won't be
minutes.
able to take yourself away from it, I don't think.
I know, man, the ammunition that is available. That's all I have to say. You better use it.
It's going to
Daddy,
be
Daddy
interesting.
There's
And
so
then-
much
and-
there. Oh my
Then
God.
you're going to wake up and have to listen to it all over again
Right.
on the show.
Did you
Oh, I
see
wish
this, that in Brussels, that they banned prostitution to stop coronavirus? Isn't that interesting that everybody hasn't done that? I mean, why just Brussels?
Good.
guess
Maybe they have in Las Vegas. I don't know how many places it's legal.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how you can prevent something that's illegal, an activity that's illegal.
Right.
It's probably hard to collect your $900 a week too for.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Can't do that.
There's so many other things that
Did you guys see
Police-
that they're closing the Majestic in Detroit
No.
no, why?
due to the coronavirus?
What happened?
I love that place so much.
Oh.
The Majestic, the historic Majestic on Woodward with the magic stick and the bowling alley and that whole thing
Yeah.
that's going on. Well, it opened in the 1900s. I mean, the early 1900s.
And so they
place
just
opened.
can't make it, Marie?
We can't do it. It's just being blamed on the pandemic. But I mean, this was a fabulous, fabulous historic place, and it's been written up nationally, and it's just really, really sad.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Well, Detroit found itself at the top of the FBI's annual list of America's most dangerous cities in 2019. Sterling Heights, once again, was among the country's safest. Violent crime in Detroit fell in 2019 from 2018, but it is still the highest among major cities. The city reported 13,040 murders, rapes, robberies, and assaults last year, down from 13,478 in 2008. So, guys, I wanted to talk to you. The gang's all here, and Thomas, Marie Osborne, Dana Clark, about these numbers and your thoughts on what it does for the image of the city when it's at the top of the rankings again, and how they get to the top of the rankings. A lot of people don't understand how Detroit finds itself at the top. It's because of crimes per capita. Detroit is a smaller big city now with about 600,000 residents compared to some of the other cities where you hear about violence, like Chicago, that has, I think, 4 million residents. They have more acts of violence, but not per capita. I was talking to a guy I met from Chicago yesterday in a meeting, and he asked me about the crime in Detroit because he had saw the statistics. I said, no, Detroit's great. You just got to be careful. It's a lot of it's gang related. A lot of it's in pockets in certain neighborhoods. And, for the most part, people feel real safe in Detroit. I said, but what about Chicago? It's all I see is, and he said, no, Chicago's great. It's very safe. You just come on, okay, there's no problems. The police would never let there be major problems downtown. Occasionally, every once in a while, something will happen. But for the most part, it's violent gangs in the neighborhoods. And so we see these crime stats. I think this is Detroit's second year in a row at the top. And it hurts to see that, especially when people are working so hard. And I know the numbers are up everywhere because of the pandemic a little bit, but it's a little troubling. And I wonder how you take that, Dana. When you hear about Detroit, Chicago, the Midwest. What are your thoughts about the violence and I don't know if it's what can be done about it or just what is the impact for the Midwest when you hear about Detroit and Chicago and cities like that?
Well, I think if people are going to travel or come here, or for us who live here, like you mentioned, we feel like it's pretty safe. You just have to be careful. But that's so weird, the difference between perception and reality. And that's why a lot of things in the world are crazy right now, because it is what it is, and this is what we think it is. So, I mean, we have a wonderful police chief, and I know he's trying hard, and I think that's really all he can do. Just keep working toward. There's unfortunately always going to be crime, and especially at a time like this. But I think, I mean, I don't think it would stop people from visiting if they want to come.
Yeah, as a total, Michigan's violent crime rate fell by 3.3% in 2019, and Detroit's was down too, but not enough. You know, when you're still at the top, you still got serious problems. And the chief has been great about being very open and transparent, and that's good. And I'd like to get him on again and just talk about where he sees those pockets, where he sees those problems, and what's being done about it. Because Marie, and you know this because you cover these stories, but the federal government has been trying to do more. They've been trying to come in and dismantle these gangs, and you'll hear how they'll go to one gang and try and have a meeting with the leaders of the gang and say, look, we just took down the Latin Counts in Southwest Detroit, and we put the leaders away for 70 years, 80 years. We don't want this to happen to you. We want something else we want you to have a different path. And then you hear about the city leaders say, well, we got to have things for the kids to do. You know, can they go someplace and learn a trade? And unless you're right in the middle of it, it's hard to sort of keep track of how we're doing there. But Maria, I'm just curious, do you get a sense that the federal efforts to help police take down gangs is actually working when you see the numbers where we're still up near the top or at the top?
Well, didn't that big effort, wasn't the big push started last December, Kevin, with the announcement of Bill Barr came into town. The name escapes me right now, Operation, and he came in and announced that big push. So the big thing that the chief always harps on is that we've got a flood of illegal guns. You know, there's just guns, there's proliferation of guns everywhere. So that's a big problem. But you mentioned something interesting, you know, per capita, the number of crimes per capita. So what that tells me is that the crime is concentrated in a smaller number of people. And when you think about that, that's kind of a sad situation because life can be pretty rough for a lot of areas and a lot of people where crime is concentrated. And it can be overwhelming for a lot of these people.
So a lot of decisions are made in the administration. So the chief's got to look at the total numbers, and you hear from the citizens, and they say, well, we want to see police in our neighborhood. We want to see officers around. And then on the other hand, they might say, well, you know what? We want to build up this violent crime task force so we can go after repeat offenders, because the biggest problem, as we see it, is the same people who will shoot somebody continue to shoot somebody, and those numbers go up and up. So if we can get those folks off the streets, crime will go down. But it's challenging to make those decisions with the manpower that you have. And I was reading that 80% of all law enforcement agencies have vacancies now in the country, and that they can't find people who want to be police officers. So the outlook there is troubling too.
And that makes total sense. It's probably the toughest job in America right now. Tough, dangerous, and you can totally understand why people have no interest in going into that. The other thing that's interesting is the Detroit News is quoting criminal justice experts who are saying that the protests are drawing police out of the neighborhoods where they would normally be. Mm-hmm. And so they're not able to do as much. And what Marie was talking about was Operation Legend, Marie.
Yep.
When you were mentioning that effort. Yes.
Yeah, and Operation Legend was supposed to help with the violence in the inner cities, and Detroit has been asking for and receiving help continuously over the years, getting more and more federal agents to come in and help fight this. But Operation Legend was supposed to be a big influx, and hopefully it'll work. It doesn't happen overnight, but it is nice. We live in a city where they tell us what's going on, and we talk to the chief frequently, and we'll continue to work on it. But okay, we're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll have much more. Let's check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
We still have that police situation working in Westland along Palmer Road. Both directions shut down eastbound and westbound between Vinoy and Merriman. It is closed there. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where not only do you pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease. Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with zero interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads. Chilly start this morning. It's going to be a little bit cooler today. Clear skies, 51 degrees. Today, partly cloudy this morning, then cloudy, more clouds in the afternoon. Slight chance of a rain shower, a high of 62. Tonight, partly cloudy skies during the evening. Could see a few showers after midnight, your low 48. On Wednesday, hump day, some clouds and showers possibly developing later in the day. A high of 66. It feels like fall. 51 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
Did you guys see the sky last night?
No.
It was absolutely
Beautiful.
gorgeous after all that rain. It was just stunning.
It is fall.
Fall in Michigan is the best.
Yeah, you saw some good colors, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It was really beautiful up there. Absolutely beautiful.
Were you ready to come home, or could you have stayed?
Well, I worked the whole time, so I started thinking,
I could work.
maybe I should come back when I'm not working.
Yeah.
How's that Wi-Fi up there?
It was pretty good.
It was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. We didn't have any trouble. So that police incident in Westland, that's a deadly stabbing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's an early morning stabbing.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So more crime.
Oh, yeah.
It's more crime.
Really rough time for everyone.
For a lot of people, yes, it is. That's kind of an understatement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to have popcorn when you watch the debate tonight?
You know I
I'm all
am.
over this popcorn idea.
You know I am.
I'm going to make popcorn.
I thought you guys were going to have your notebooks out and your pen and
Popcorn
paper. And your,
We will, Kevin.
Popcorn
We'll
and
have
a big cup of tea.
I'm gonna let Brian decide what the best sound bites were and pick them all and let him decide. It's funny when you listen to those and you're like planning to do the show or whatever, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna remember that one.
Yeah.
I'll write that one down, and then you don't remember it, and then it gets played in the news cycle, and you're like, oh yeah, that was the good one.
Right. I had that one.
That's how we're trained. Like, that's how I watch a debate, looking for sound bites.
Yes. Yes, it's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be great.
So the first time I filled in was the first day of the debates in Detroit with all the Democratic nominees, and I think I stayed up all night trying to memorize all those names: Buttigieg and Klobuchar.
It was a long list, wasn't it?
It was a long list. It was not
Very long list.
That was not fun. I was over preparing.
Yeah, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Well, there was also the time that I asked Kevin to just come in and observe.
That was great.
And then he ended up basically the way he
observed
observed was doing the show.
Over there with the microphone.
Good trick, Annie. Way to get him.
He didn't even know what was going on.
What was happening?
Went right
Like,
in.
what? So, is it on MSNBC? Where is the debate going to be shown?
everywhere.
moderators-
everywhere. Oh, okay.
Everybody, I think everybody can show it.
Who's moderating?
Chris Wallace with Fox.
Chris Wallace. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is a lot of meat to. There's a lot. There's so much stuff. Oh my gosh!
Well,
Like
they decided to do it with 15 minutes, where they just pick 6 topics. So
Oh,
they're supposed
okay.
to say just these topics. I don't know if they will with all the
What are
breaking
they,
news.
Kev?
It's so it's the Trump and Biden records, the Supreme Court, COVID-19, the economy, race and violence in the cities, and the integrity of the election.
What about taxes?
those-
Nothing on there about
Okay.
taxes or
boy.
Hunter Biden or so I guess the candidates will just have to bring that up somehow.
Exactly.
That'll
We know
come up
they
in
will.
the economy category somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah. The
Well,
Yeah, I'm
well,
sure.
now we know why rich people are rich.
the
It's pretty simple.
Well, that's an interesting point that Dana makes there.
that's what the USA Today did a story today on why rich people are rich, or how
Mhm.
taxes and whatnot.
And that the question that Dana is bringing up there, Dana, yesterday, Kevin and I were talking about what impact that big story will have on the electorate. In other words,
Oh, yeah.
what will people think? So will the president's supporters care? Will
No.
that change their minds?
No.
And will it affect the independent vote? Will the independents who do probably pay way more in taxes, will that affect how they feel?
Mhm.
Is it a game changer?
It's so crazy because there's a new thing every week that's supposed to be the game changer. Like
Right,
it
and
was
it
just
never
the
is.
Supreme Court justice decision
Right.
was supposed to be the game changer, and now
Right.
forget that, it's the taxes. And tomorrow it'll be
Right.
forget that, it's something
Right.
else.
Something else.
I mean, we get hit with so much stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
there's been 672 investigations into Trump or something like that. I mean, it's endless, So like, if you're in Trump's corner, you're in Trump's corner, and
Mhm.
if you're not, you're not. And I don't know what they could possibly
True.
do. And this tax thing, I was talking to somebody at Trumper and yesterday, and they were saying, I feel like I did this tax thing in 2016. I felt like I already knew in 2016 that he doesn't pay taxes. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel new to me,
Right.
because you have the documents. I feel like, this has been an ongoing story,
Mhm.
And then 2 other things. It's like, one, if he's fought it that hard not to let him out, he's probably got a problem there. He's not paying his fair share. The other thing is, if the New York Times has these documents, and they waited till now to do it, and then they reported, and come back every couple of days or so, we're going to do another story on it, extract this. I'm like, come on, you have a staff big enough to let us know what's going on, and then maybe go to the authorities if the problem's that big. When they're dripping it out, it's just troubling. I hate to see it that way. It's like when Kwame got in trouble, the headline in the paper was, "He lied. Here's the text message. He lied." Now, they continued to do stories on and on, but they didn't say, he lied. We contacted the prosecutor,
Mhm.
not, hey, come back in 3 more days. We'll have another page from the from the tax report or whatever. I don't know. It's just
They stretch it out to keep you coming back.
Yeah, and it's just it makes me, just common sense wise, it makes me feel like they don't have as much as they say they do, or they would hit you.
Mhm.
But maybe what they hit with the first day was enough. That, what do you pay, $700 or something?
$750.
Oh.
2 years in a row, $750.
Wow.
And what I think is very clever is the Biden campaign immediately put out bumper stickers that say, "I paid more taxes than Joe Biden," or than President Trump.
Yeah.
And they also put out a spot featuring faces of nurses and doctors and
Yeah. Everybody has paid more.
I paid this much, I paid $6,000 in taxes last
Yeah.
year. They responded pretty quickly, so it's very.
They need to be careful. It almost sounds coordinated.
Right. We finally had something together.
Yeah, but they may have known it was coming and they were ready for it. So
Yeah.
I found it interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
I think
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
It is 6:06 in the morning on Tuesday, September the 29th. Thanks for joining us on the Paul W. Smith Show. We got the gang with us, Ann Thomas, Marie Osborne, Dana Clark. Guys, about 3/4 of voters plan to watch the first presidential debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Of those surveyed, what percentage do you think said they consider it likely that they will hear something in this debate that will change their vote or affect their vote one way or the other? What percentage do you think feels like they're going to see something or hear something tonight that is going to impact their vote? Ann, I'll start with you. 5%. Marie?
I would say 10%, 10%, no more than that.
10%. Dana?
I think that same thing.
That's a pretty good number.
Same numbers.
So 13% said they would consider it likely that they will hear something that will affect their vote. That seems like a high number to me. I mean, I know a lot of people are looking to see how Joe Biden holds up for 90 minutes. And if he passes that test, I think he's good to go. And his supporters will all be good to go. With Trump, I don't know what Trump supporters, what would have to happen to get Trump supporters to stop being Trump supporters? I can't imagine much of anything. So it's an independent, person, which they usually put that number at about 10%. But I just, with as much as we hear about the candidates, I would have thought that a lot more independents would already be decided or would pretty much be decided. 13 sounds like a big number to, make to think or expect to see something that's going to, change their mind or make them finally choose one way or the other.
The other question is how many people have already voted?
Yes.
And I also I thought I read somewhere that this election has the fewest undecided voters ever. At
really?
This time. I thought I read that someplace. So
that makes sense.
And 3/4 of voters plan to watch. I imagine we'd go 4 for 4 on planning to watch tonight. Is everybody going to watch?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish it would come on right now.
24 hours all day. Just keep going.
Get that 5-hour energy, Uncle Joe. Come on. You can do it.
So Chris Wallace.
I think actually he's going to be really good. There's so much there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting if they stay on script or not. So, obviously the news cycle has been talking about Donald Trump's tax problem, a little bit about the report that came out about Hunter Biden's dealings. Will any of that come up? We do know the Supreme Court situation will come up because Chris Wallace has listed his topics, and they're the Trump and Biden records, which are pretty well known. The Supreme Court, which is developing day by day. COVID-19, which is a huge topic. It'll be really interesting to see how they handle that. I think the economy, again, they're both sides. Donald Trump's going to say the economy is unbelievable with him, and Joe Biden's going to say, "Look at the economy right now; it's a disaster." And race and violence in our cities is one I really will be looking forward to paying attention to see if they have any real ideas. And the integrity of the election, that's been in the news cycles as well. So do you think that, Dana, do you think they'll be able to take these topics and still get their zingers in about the daily news cycles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially President Trump, he's going to go off course. Hopefully we'll see if he can hold it together. But I think it's going to be a good first look at those two against each other. Hopefully they will stick with the facts, but we know that's probably not going to happen. I know everybody wanted a fact checker there. I don't know if they can actually do that. But yeah, I think they're going to be able to get a lot in both of them, even within the range of the topics.
Marie, what did you think of the way they prepared? Joe Biden kind of took a day and a half off to go prepare, and Donald Trump said, "I don't need to prepare. I've been preparing every day for the last 4 years."
I find that whole part of the story so fascinating. I think back to 4 years ago because the same thing happened and we talked about it yesterday. Hillary Clinton, hunkered down and had, did the test runs and all of this and studied. And Trump, of course, didn't do that. And he really didn't do very well in the debates the last time through. I think that was pretty much the consensus. So it'll be interesting to see because he certainly is more seasoned now. He has faced reporters. He's faced that gaggle of reporters many times. So he is going to be more prepared, I think. But it's going to be a very, very interesting display. And really, Kevin, I find it really interesting. One person studying and the other one going, I got this. Remember how in high school, there was always the kid in class who'd ace it and he'd never study?
Yes, hated that kid.
And you're like, wait a minute, how did that happen?
Right.
Well, it'll be interesting. And, you watch enough of these that the seasoned debaters have their talking points and they know how to turn any question and topic back into what their talking points are. And I think Joe Biden will be pretty good at that. And I don't know that Donald Trump will. I think he'll just react in the moment. Do you think there'll be, and one of those lines like we've gotten over the years from debates that people remember for years? Or do you think this will just be maybe a shouting match that we don't get much out?
I think there will be several lines that we will remember for years. I have a feeling that they are working on those lines and have been for several weeks. They know the topics, so they've got some lines for each topic. Because in today's world with social media, those lines can make or break a campaign. Some of the things that are said, they just get repeated over and over again. So that's going to be the most interesting part, to find those lines.
And we'll see them on bumper stickers by tomorrow, right, Marie?
Yeah.
All right. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be back with much more in just a bit. Right now, let's check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Unfortunately, still dealing with that deadly stabbing situation in Westland this morning. Police are on the scene. Avoid the area. Palmer is closed both directions, eastbound and westbound between Vinoy and Merriman. Otherwise, accident-free and no delays. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the Cremation Society of Michigan. For over 32 years, the Cremation Society of Michigan has been providing dignified cremation services without the cost of traditional funerals. For cremation information, contact the Cremation Society of Michigan at 1-800-241-3131 or visit cremationmichigan.com.
Get ourselves into some clearing sky today.
You guys have a good day.
Tonight.
Tomorrow.
Mostly cloudy later today with a high of 63. A few clouds tonight, 48. Outlying areas a little bit cooler. And we should see some showers and thunderstorms.
So, Kev, you're all set for Rachel here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You know a lot about StreamYard. From a technical standpoint, that feedback that we were hearing was coming from Marie.
So the reason that happens is
what is that?
you have too many things open. So if she's searching Google and other things, then, or maybe she has a Zoom that's open somewhere on her computer. What you want to do is shut as much stuff down as you can. And if StreamYard's the only thing you have up, it works much better. So like you Google on a second computer, right?
Like I do, yeah.
Yeah, and I Google on my phone. So you'll get that feedback if you have multiple things open.
So will you also get feedback if, for example, you and I have headphones on? So we're running it through the computer.
Only if at the studio. That happens when there's two people at the studio. And like if Marie was at the studio and it was coming through Brian's audio or something like that. So that happens more like that than the headphones itself. I think it's cleaner with headphones and the microphone.
I do too.
System. I just think it works better. But typically it's you have two things up and it's competing.
Okay. See if I can help with that because that was a fair amount of feedback. Brian was muting her when other people were talking.
Okay. That's the other thing that's nice about having the microphone like this. I have a mute button right here, so if whatever a long guy comes by or whatever, you can hit the mute button right there quick, which is kind of nice for that too. But
So you're hitting the mute button on the microphone as opposed to on the.
yeah, I hit it right on my microphone, which is so much easier than the other way around. I'm trying to think if that feedback, that should be the only problem. It's got to be competing with something.
Okay. I'm going to see if we can solve that.
Yeah. Well, when she switches over to Lucy Live or whatever, they're always good. Dick has problems too in the morning hearing or.
I noticed that. It's one.
Courtney's getting better.
And Courtney, I think it's.
He stopped Facebook, right? He just does it on his audio, right?
But when I noticed when he was on, he did some video stuff the other day. I think maybe the engineers have paid a visit.
Yeah.
We need to have home visits by the engineers. Brian says, what time? Oh, the Unlock Michigan interview is going to run at 7:18, Brian.
7:18. And maybe again at 8:30 and
8:35 and 8:05.
Yeah, Brian, was that audio bad? I didn't hook up my Yeti, and that audio was straight with just the computer microphone and listening back. So my guess is that audio won't be as clean as the stuff we're doing here. But I listened to it. It was good enough. But anyway,
when it runs through the system. Okay, I will let you do your first interview, and I'll be back.
Waive your new member fee. That's $170 savings. And of course, that's just a start. The typical family saves $500 a month after making the switch. Medishare is a Christian community that shares each other's healthcare costs, and it's worked beautifully for decades. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Just tell them the promo code SHARE to get your additional savings. Here it is. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Well, just about everybody I know is going to be glued to their TV at 9 o'clock tonight to watch the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Covering that story is Fox correspondent Rachel Sutherland, and she joins us now. Rachel, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
It's one of those days that I wish I could just sort of watch it as a fan and not have to take notes and report on it again tomorrow morning. But those big stories happen, and you go through them with a notebook and a pen in your hand. Sometimes you just want popcorn.
Right. I feel you. But yeah, some of the moments just stand out so much in our minds. It'll be easy to be able to, easy to pick out the highlights of the night. They're in Cleveland tonight. I remember 4 years ago, the first debate remember how big the debate stage was with all the Republicans? I was there for that. So it's kind of a bummer, doing it from my couch, but that's all right.
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure in a lot of ways, I guess. I read that about 3/4 of voters plan to watch the debate. And I read that 13%, according to the study I was looking at, 13% of people said they think it's likely they'll hear something that will affect their vote. It seemed kind of like a high number to me, because I just feel like people are in their camps, and that independent voter, which is so important, I always feel like, well, they've already heard most of everything there is to be said and decide who they like and who they don't like. But I forget sometimes that a lot of people just aren't paying attention like news people are. A lot of people are now hunkered in and saying, oh, it's time to find out who I'm going to vote for.
That's right. There could be some people who I think maybe these undecided voters are rather of a dying breed right now, but there could be some who are persuadable And that's what makes this first debate so key. It's really the first glimpse of President Trump and the former vice president in the same room together, ready to face off. This is going to be intense. Both have been preparing. The former vice president has been doing hours and hours of debate prep with advisors filling in as the president. The president said that he's been also working on it. Apparently, he's been using flashcards and getting some help from former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, also Rudy Giuliani. So, but one thing, I think the Trump campaign, whereas they portray him as Sleepy Joe, they're also aware that Joe Biden's been in politics for decades. He's experienced with this. He is also very well rested. I mean, he's not been tearing it up, being president at the same time and trying to deal with all this. He's been taking his approach kind of like the tortoise and the hare. He's been laying low, and I think his campaign strategy is just don't screw up. I mean, looking there in Ohio, which wasn't expected to be a battleground state, according to the latest Fox News polling, Biden is ahead by 5 points. Now, President Trump won Ohio in 2016 by nearly 8 points. So it is considered a swing state in a year, in a time, typically you wouldn't consider Ohio necessarily a battleground, but it is this time around. And that's where the debate will be held. Our own Fox's Chris Wallace going to be moderating. He says he's not going to be fact-checking. That's just not his job. But and there'll be no opening statements. They'll just dive into the questions, and each will have 2 minutes to respond.
So don't screw up doesn't make for good TV. I want the knockout punch. If they were
not a literal punch, though.
No, not a literal punch. I don't want that. No. But if there were to be a knockout punch per se, where would President Trump be vulnerable most, and where would Joe Biden be vulnerable most?
Well, I think the president's vulnerabilities are going to be coronavirus. The latest New York Times reporting on his taxes. Those are, I think, probably his highest race relations in the country. When it comes to Joe Biden, his greatest vulnerabilities, probably his stance on social issues, on the perception that perhaps, as the Trump campaign has been trying to paint him as a puppet of the left. Will he be independent of kind of the more far-reaching, far-flung Democrats who want to see socialism? So that'll be an issue. And this whole thing about his mental fitness. I mean, it's like the battle of mental fitness here, and the idea of a drug test. I mean, I just think it would be hilarious and great TV if someone brought out a pee cup on stage and said, "Let's go." That's not going to happen. If it does, then I want to talk to you about it.
Yes, I don't think either gentleman is going to take a drug test, but we'll see how that goes. I guess it does. So when you look at the debate, who are the candidates talking to? Do they have to talk to their base to make sure they get out and vote, or are they talking to the undecided voter, whatever percentage that is? Are they trying to win them over here in the first debate?
Well, really, they're talking to both. They are talking to their base, and that's where each candidate has to walk a fine line. I think the president's going to be talking more to his base. There may be some that are persuadable that could come over to President Trump. Say, like you mentioned, they haven't really been plugged in. They haven't been paying attention. They may like what they hear. Joe Biden very much needing to appeal to the base, but also I think he's even going to be going after those undecideds even more, because they could tip the election, even if it's only 6% of people. That's still a lot of people. And to try to energize both sides to get them out to the polls. Not that seems to be a huge problem looking at the recent polling. It looks like people are very interested in this race, that they are planning to vote, that many of them, both Democrats and Republicans, plan to go to their polling places, not vote by mail. The majority say they're actually going to vote in person. I think a little over half say they're going to vote by mail, but a great majority saying that they're going to get out there. So more than in recent years. So I think that for Biden, it's going to be about trying to win the undecided voter. I don't know that the president is going to shine in that respect. He really, his base is solidified. Even with the tax reporting, it doesn't appear, we don't have any polling from it yet. But even with that, it's nothing new. Back in 2016, he was asked about his taxes, and he said at the time, Hillary Clinton was attacking him about not paying as much tax, and he said, "Well, that makes me smart." So it's not like this is new to his supporters. So I don't know that's going to move the needle a whole lot, but it will be brought up tonight, no doubt.
All right, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News correspondent. Enjoy your assignment tonight, and thanks for joining us on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to be watching to see if President Donald Trump will treat this more like a rally, which he seems to love, or if he will try and come off as more presidential. I'm interested to see if Joe Biden will be subdued as he has been most of the last couple of months, or if he will try and show a little fire to show that he's got the energy it takes to be president. It's all going to be fun to watch tonight at 9 o'clock. Right now, let's check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by MGM Grand Detroit. At MGM Grand Detroit, they can't wait to see you again. They look a little different as they've made changes for your health and safety to ensure your visit will still be a grand time. They hope to see you soon, and remember to always mask up. 21 plus.
Still dealing with that police situation. Unfortunately, reports say a deadly stabbing this morning in Westland. It is closed along Palmer, both directions, eastbound and westbound between Vinoy and Merriman. Please avoid that area. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit. It's going to feel like fall once again today. Partly cloudy skies this morning. Slight chance of an afternoon rain shower. A high of 62. Tonight, partly cloudy. Your low 48. Could see another chance of rain move in on Wednesday, hump day. Some clouds to start, and then maybe some showers in the afternoon. A high of 66. Clear skies, 51 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Mitch Albom, inviting companies large and small in Michigan to take the Popcorn Pledge. Order special holiday tins of brown bag popcorn, gourmet popcorn for your clients and employees for the holidays by going to brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge. You'll be helping support Say Detroit charities at a time when those less fortunate in our community really can use the help. It's popcorn with a purpose. Take the pledge today at brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge.
Donald Trump says we're not safe in Biden's America. But we're living in Trump's America now. And 200,000 Americans have died from the virus that he lied about.
The simple truth is, Donald Trump failed to protect America. So now, he's trying to scare America. Mr. Trump, you want to talk about fear? Do you know if people are afraid they're going to get COVID? They're afraid they're going to get sick and die.
I just sent you more information on that flu study.
I was just Googling.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that so many parents are going to opt out of the shot?
And I'm not sure I understand the logic behind that. With, yeah, I mean, if they normally get it, you know what I mean? Like,
one of the things that you often see with that flu shot is that the effects of it. So they're saying, it's not 100% sure that if you get the flu shot, you're going to be protected from the flu. I mean, it's way lower. So I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons they don't do it, or, what's in the flu shot. There are some doctors out there who are concerned about that. But this year you keep hearing, oh boy, you better get the flu shot because then
the flu's going to be really bad this year, they're saying.
But see, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I think that because we are taking so many measures to keep ourselves from getting infection,
right,
the chances are very good that the flu will not be transmitted as highly as it usually is. I mean, if we're all wearing masks, social distancing, constantly washing our hands, we may do better with the flu. And why?
or we have had no resistance because nobody's seen anyone and we have nothing in our systems to protect us from the flu.
Well, there's that too. But we're not going to get out too much anyhow.
Right.
I mean, we will within reason, but I have a sneaking suspicion we're still going to have to be really careful this winter.
Well, if the second wave hits and Dr. Fauci was saying, things aren't great, then we're going to be stuck here till after the winter. And if we're stuck, then people shouldn't be catching the flu the way we have in the past, because we're just not. People are going to hunker down again. I mean, they went out for warm weather, but I don't think they're going to be going out in the cold weather quite like that.
I don't think so either. I'm wondering if this number has something to do with the fact that many kids aren't in school, that they're home online.
Or just you get your flu shot at work. So you're not going to work. So you're not getting the flu shot. You're not making a special appointment to go get a flu shot. Possibly. Have you ever gotten one at where you see them at Rite Aid or something like that, or CVS? I've never gotten a flu shot there, but I don't know how convenient it is.
I have. It is convenient. I haven't gotten a flu shot in a couple of years, but it is convenient. I have done Rite Aid and CVS actually, and it was easy, nothing.
Okay.
The one issue now too is, are people going to be comfortable going and waiting in public to get a flu shot?
Well, I get the idea that's why they're saying that it's going to be down, because they don't want to just be out and risk COVID to get the flu shot. And then Fauci was talking about that he's worried about the damage to the heart that COVID is giving people, even in or asymptomatic people, and they're not exactly sure what's going on there. I mean, just news like that will keep people home again. People who are feeling like, I'm done with this, I'm going to go brave it. I feel people are going to pull back again. And the schools are out of hand. Did you see they've surpassed nursing homes now as the top outbreak spot? Yeah. So I got these kids. My daughter came home last night at about 10 o'clock at night from Kalamazoo. She got in her car at about 8 o'clock because too many of her friends have COVID and she doesn't want to get it. And so she just drove home, and she's going to study from here for a couple weeks until things settle down.
Actually, that was a good move on her part.
If she got out in time.
Right. That or your entire family now.
Yeah, so she was not, or she was negative or whatever it's called. She didn't have it when she tested on Wednesday or whatever. So now she's got to test again today and see where she's at. But
so does she live in a dorm, or what's her living situation?
No, she lives in a house, but she's got her own room on her own floor in that house. So she's kind of away from the crowd,
Now, how does she feel about it? Is she nervous? Does it make her?
I don't know. Those kids go back and forth. Some of them want to feel like, oh, well, let's just get it. Then we don't have to worry about it anymore. And the people who've had it aren't getting that sick. But then it's like, well, I've gone this far without having it, and we don't know what the long-term effects are. Let's try not to get it. But it does go back and forth depending on what's happening. I'm not sure. I don't think college kids are completely skipping out on the social aspects of their lives to stay safe. I mean,
no. Mm-mm. They have a different outlook on life than we do.
Yes. Lucky them.
We worry constantly. They don't worry at all.
Right. So, but they do worry. So that's the thing. She got in her car and drove home. So she's worried, So then you just start thinking about all that stuff, you're checking in enough with these kids and, all the young people, and how they're doing with all this COVID and stuff. Everybody kind of just is handling it and however they're doing it. But it is important to check in. I got on the phone with my son and we talked we must have talked for 50 minutes the other day. And he just rattled off all these, things where he'd rather be at the office and rather be, doing this, but they're just not there,
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
No, I think that's actually a good topic.
Yeah.
Because I think they take their cue from how we're dealing with it.
Mhm.
So if we're in a panic about it, I think they're watching what we think. Whereas if we say, the smartest thing to do is mask up, but still
New
decide
experience.
to have a life.
BoyneGolf.com to
Better for
plan your time here.
Yeah.
That's
I
BoyneGolf.com.
really think it's important to talk.
I don't think we have a guest yet, Ann, so maybe you want to hang on until they show up.
Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
A new national poll says 1 in 3 parents plan to skip flu shots during COVID-19. Why is that? Ann Thomas is with us, and we've kind of been discussing this. And I don't know if you get flu shots or not, but I haven't made any plans to get a flu shot yet. And I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not one of those people who's opposed to the flu shots. Or I don't necessarily think if I get a shot, I'm more likely to get the flu. But I guess I just feel like I don't need to go out and make an appointment or go out and get a flu shot with COVID out there and everything else. If I'm home being safe from COVID, I'm home being safe from the flu. What do you think? Why do you think so many parents are going to skip it this time around?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I'm wondering, could it be because so many kids are not at school yet, and maybe the parents aren't as concerned about them getting the flu? That could be one part of it. Maybe they're concerned about how effective the flu shot will be this year. That could be another part of it. Maybe they're concerned about side effects, but that's a pretty big number. It's an interesting study that has come out.
Yeah, my first thought was that this is going to be a really bad flu season because we haven't been out and about, and so we haven't built up any natural immunities to getting sick and catching the flu. And I felt like this might be a really tough year. But you kind of look at it the opposite way, right, Ann?
Yes, I have a different take on it. I think because we are being so careful, we are out wearing masks when we're shopping and going to restaurants, and we are washing our hands more, and we are cleaning more and social distancing. I think perhaps we will have a better chance of not contracting the flu this year. I mean, I am really trying to be careful about, when I go out to a grocery store and I come back into the house, the first thing I do is wash my hands.
Marie, you're with us as well. What are your thoughts about the reason 1 in 3 parents are planning to skip the flu shot during COVID-19 this year?
I kind of agree with Ann that maybe this flu season is going to be a little better than usual, only because people are just being so very careful, and schools, a lot of them are not doing in-person classes. So I think that brings down the number. Now, why are more parents opting out of getting the flu vaccine? I've already gotten mine. That's something we do in our family due to some other issues here. So we always, all of us, including my children, all get the flu shot. But I know a lot of our friends are saying, no, I think I'll pass. I don't really know why. I don't know if people are not taking it as seriously as they should, or what the reason may be. But I do think we're in for a better. I do agree with Ann that we're going to be a little better off in that we're just being more careful.
Yeah, I hope so. I've been watching just different stories, and they just catch me, and it sort of changes my mood on what's going on out there with COVID and whatnot. And as I watched Michigan schools take over nursing homes as the hot spot, now I think schools have 129 new cases to 105 at the nursing homes, and I think about kids and their movement, and I think, oh man, my chances of catching COVID just went up because students have it now, and I have kids college age, and I feel like my ability to catch COVID is up now because it's moving through the schools. And when I'm more fearful of COVID, I'm less likely to go make an appointment to go get a flu shot. I feel like all right, maybe if I can get a flu shot at home, so someone's here with flu shots at the house, I'll take one, but am I going to go out and stand in the line somewhere or go to the pharmacy and take a chance of catching COVID so that I don't catch the flu? Catching the flu doesn't bother me as much as the idea of catching COVID. And maybe there's something to that with folks. I don't know.
I went to the pharmacy to get my flu shot, and I walked in. I had a mask on, walked in. There was no one else waiting. Walked in. I went over. They did I don't like sitting anywhere during all this. So I stood, and then they said, no, you do have to sit down in order to get the shot. Okay, so I sat down in the chair, and I walked out. I was out in 10 minutes, and there was a guy behind me who came in after, and then I think another person came in after him. But I mean, it was so quick and easy that I just thought I didn't feel like I'd been exposed to anything going into the pharmacy. It took me 10 minutes, all of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was very easy.
Yeah, I know.
Kevin, go get it.
Yeah, I'll go get it. And we've had people on who said that if parents aren't getting their flu shots, are they going to take their kids to get other shots that they need? And that some of these other vaccinations are really important, because if you don't get those vaccinations, they're worried you could suddenly have another outbreak of yellow fever or something that's not been around.
Measles and so forth. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sometimes, if we're not getting our shots, maybe we're not getting the kids their shots as well. And I know there's been a couple of studies and concerns about that as well.
Kevin, quick question for you. With young adults and college students in the house, what is their take on coronavirus? Are they worried about getting it?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It kind of ebbs and flows. At times, when stuff's going on and everybody's going back to school and they're thinking about tailgating or something like that, they almost want to just go catch COVID, get it over with, so they can get back to their normal lives. But then when one of their friends has COVID, they get very concerned about how sick are they going to get, and are there going to be long-lasting impacts. So then when one of their friends gets COVID, they pull back, they get scared, and they say, wait a minute, this isn't worth it. I need to stay isolated and get safe. That's been the experience I've been seeing anyway. It's very interesting to watch. It's real important to check in with your kids and see how they feel about all this. It's a lot. It's a lot for parents. It's a lot for kids.
Yeah.
Much more of the Paul W. Smith Show coming up. We're going to take a quick break and check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile Business Advantage. Get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans via bill credits when you switch, plus taxes and fees. Stop by for details. Over 50 gigabytes per month. Have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p. See T-Mobile.com.
Traffic First, also sponsored by the Cremation Society of Michigan. For over 32 years, the Cremation Society of Michigan has been providing dignified cremation services without the cost of traditional funerals. For cremation information, contact the Cremation Society of Michigan at 1-800-241-3131 or visit cremationmichigan.com. In Roseville, accident in that road construction area along 696 westbound after Gratiot. The right shoulder is blocked. Deadly stabbing reports say this morning in Westland. Palmer Road, both directions, eastbound and westbound between Vinoy and Merriman, closed due to that situation. Please avoid the area. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Attention new car buyers, Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is offering huge savings on their inventory of new Ram pickups during the Ram Power Days event. Parkway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Hall Road in Clinton Township. Show up, sign up, and ride.
Yeah, and seasonably cool weather will continue. Mix of clouds and sunshine this morning. Might see a little more cloud this afternoon, but still some sun. High 63. Tonight, some clouds in town, about 48. Suburbs a little cooler. And we may see a few more showers and thunderstorms tomorrow with highs in the low 60s. From a weather.
So it looks like maybe Dr. Elrod had some type of an emergency.
Oh, okay.
Brian says his people called and apologized and will call us to reschedule. Well, you know what? Maybe Dr. Elrod might want to go a little bit later. So I'm going to pop out here and see.
Look at you solving problems.
Yeah. Hang on. I'll be back.
Learn more at dteenergy.com. DTE. There is nothing more beautiful than a tree. Unless, of course, it's fallen on your power lines.
Susan,
Fallen trees are
he
responsible
got sick from a flu shot.
of the time DTE customers are without power.
I
So
know a lot of
DTE
people who
is
feel that
stepping up
way.
efforts to trim overgrown trees.
I'm not against your
Keep
thought
safe
philosophy
and the
on that.
electric grid
I'm
reliable.
more,
And it
I'll
works.
get the flu shot.
Where
if
we've completed
flu
tree
shot's
trimming,
around, but I'm
customers have had
looking for
60%
it.
fewer outages. Learn more at dteenergy.com/tree care.
Deborah, welcome from Northern Michigan. How are the colors up there?
2020 took a different path than we expected,
Beautiful
but it
photos on
definitely
Facebook
didn't slow our pace.
the
Planet
UP
M has
where
helped private and
colors
public entities
pretty
work
much
together
turned.
to
I'm not
advance
sure
the
where in Northern
future of
Michigan you are,
mobility
but
technology
I was
along a
up
challenging
a
course.
couple weeks
Working
ago.
together
Some of the trees
keep
are starting to
staying
turn.
on the right path. So whether you're just getting
Morning,
started
Daryl,
or
Andrew,
industry,
Patrick,
Planet M is
Jim,
your connection to Michigan's mobility
Don,
ecosystem
Bill.
and our future. If you're ready to make a move with your business, see how we can help at planetem.com/pure-partnership.
Mike.
I'm attorney Mark Bernstein. When you need help, you turn to family. We are family.
When you're hurt, scared, and confused, you need someone you can trust.
Their family. My family.
I call Beth, I call Mark, I could call Sam. I feel like the whole family is there for me.
They actually care about the results and wanting to do the best possible job they can for you.
They're a family working together to help people like you and me.
1-800.
Call Sam.
Paid for by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm.
Hey guys, 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty here for Pain Free Life Centers. And guys, let's be honest here. When I played as a professional athlete, you know, when I rolled out of bed and I was aching, well, I was getting paid for it. Pain was part of the job. Nobody's paying me to be in pain these days. I seek to be out of pain. That's what Pain Free Life Centers has given me. The FDA approved, high intensity, high dosage laser treatment. Let your body heal at the cellular level with no pills, no surgeries, no side effects, no injections. So you walk out of there feeling amazing. Trust me, if it can help me with all the pain that I have to deal with, it can help you too. And my friend Jeff is so certain he can help you too. Your consultation and first treatment are absolutely free. You literally have nothing to lose but your pain. Make your appointment. Call 248-879-1100 or go to painfreelifecenters.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
In the last quarter, Uber lost $1.8 billion because of the COVID pandemic. I mean, think about it. How often have you called up an Uber or a Lyft to catch a ride since the pandemic hit? I mean, I know personally, we used to use Uber in our family quite a bit, a couple times a month between the 5 of us. Now we probably haven't used it twice in 4 or 5 months. The company is trying to survive and come back. And part of that involves expanding and having rideshare all around the world, including London, where Uber was able to get their license back after winning a court challenge. And joining us on the phone now to talk about this is Simon Owen, Fox News correspondent. Welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, morning, Kevin.
So sort of walk us through this. What has been the history of Uber in London, and where do we stand today, and why is this ruling so important?
Yes, it's a troubled history, but this is certainly a crucial victory for Uber, this taxi service that, as you say, has spread all over the world in recent years. But that rapid expansion has been bumpy at times, and no less so than here in the British capital. Uber ended up being stripped of its license to operate here last year. There had been a series of skirmishes with the Transport Authority before that, and Uber was then told last November that that was it. It was being banned for what Transport for London said was a pattern of failings, including some, it said, that put passengers at risk. Well, Uber appealed that ruling, went to court. It apologized. It was contrite. It accepted there had been flaws in the past, but it said it had changed, that it had put things right. And now a judge has sided with the company. And the magistrate who heard this case, Tan Ikram, said that while Uber was guilty of historic failings, he said its record was improving, and that he was satisfied that it is now, in the words they use, fit and proper to hold a license. So Uber is back it is very happy. London is a particularly lucrative market. It counts 3.5 million regular customers here. So those 3.5 million people can continue to use the service. The transport regulator says it will be watching Uber very closely.
Yeah, so here in the States, Uber had a bumpy start here as well, and the biggest concern, of course, was people's safety. And there'd be a report here, and then a report there, and all of a sudden, people were very concerned about how safe they were getting in a car with a stranger. But Uber seemed to put together quite a lengthy list of things that they go through to make sure that the riders are safe, the background checks, and being able to identify that a driver actually is a driver. The biggest problem after they sort of went through their safety checks was making sure customers got in the right car that they were supposed to be getting in more than anything else. Have they done that in London? Do they have the same safety procedures? Do they make sure that they do background checks and all of that on the drivers? And do they do checks on the cars? At first there were not checks on the actual fitness of the automobiles, but they changed that as well. The cars all have to go in and get checked out before somebody can become an Uber driver.
Well, I mean, it's certainly changed from the kind of sort of almost quite loose-seeming ride-hailing service that it used to be, where you accepted that it was just going to be a stranger perhaps rolling up in their car, making a few dollars on the side and taking you around. Now it's much more like a taxi company. And Uber says that it has increased its safety precautions. It said that this verdict is a recognition of its commitment to safety. It says it will continue to work constructively with the regulator. But Transport for London laid out a series of flaws that it identified last year, and perhaps the most hair-raising complaint from the regulator. It said that there was a flaw in Uber's systems that was allowing unauthorized drivers to upload their photos to another driver's account, essentially borrow the account and make some money for themselves. And so Uber had been saying, we've got this sorted, we're doing background checks on the drivers, they've all got to have accounts with their photos on. And then it turned out there was this huge loophole in the system that meant that wasn't really a promise that was worth more than the paper it was written on, because Transport for London said that those uninsured rides involving unauthorized drivers, it says that they carried out more than 14,000 rides before Uber fixed this flaw. So it was a pretty kind of damning indictment from the regulator. Now, at the same time, 3.5 million regular customers, that's a lot. That's a significant proportion of London's population. And so I think this is probably quite helpful for the transport regulator and the mayor of London as well, because if they had officially kicked Uber out and got rid of it, then you would have some customers who kind of got attached to Uber. It's much cheaper than traditional black cabs here. And so this perhaps works for both sides, that Uber says it has tightened up its safety precautions. And for the regulator, it's able to keep Uber operating and keep happy the 3 million odd Londoners who use it.
Yeah, I suspect that the courts wanted to make sure that Uber, which is trying to expand and grow, wasn't looking the other way when it came to safety, that they were actually taking it very seriously and doing everything they could to tighten everything up and not worry as much about growth as worry about safety, and make sure that they were in the right frame of mind as they move forward. I'm a little curious about how it works in London. In some of the smaller cities, people use Uber. If they had a couple of drinks out at dinner, they'll take an Uber for safety, so they're not driving. In some of the big cities, people completely get rid of their cars entirely, and they use Uber as their sole transportation, so that they don't have a car payment, gas payment, parking payments, insurance payments, and the like. How is Uber used in London?
Yes, it's probably more like the latter. This is a particularly big city. It does have a vast public transport network, so for a lot of people that is sufficient. But yes, if there is an occasion when you need to get somewhere, or it's late and you want to get home quickly, or whatever else, then Uber is there as an option. I mean, London has always had this very established, you may have seen the black cabs before. It's kind of an iconic sight on London streets, and that is something where the regulator faces a particular challenge, because it's a very powerful black cabs sort of faction, and drivers in London, if you want to have a black cab license, you have to pass a test called the Knowledge, which requires you to know basically every street in London. And you are then, when you're tested on this, they will give you one street name and then a second street name, and immediately, without any maps, you have to recite to the instructor, to the examiner, what route you would take street by street, and prove that you know all of the tens of thousands of streets that make up this city. It takes an awful lot of time and investment to get that qualification. And so when something like Uber comes along and completely turns the market on its head, that has led to, for years now, furious protests from traditional black cab drivers. They are very disappointed that the magistrate in this case turned around and gave Uber a second chance.
Well, as a tourist on all my trips to London, I've always taken the black cab and I've always enjoyed it. But it's nice to know on my next trip, if we're ever able to go again when COVID is over, that we'll have that opportunity to use Uber. And I'm sure all the people in London are happy to have those options, especially since it saves them a little money. Simon Owen, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show today.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Have a great day. We will be back with more, but right now we're going to check in with weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Accident in Roseville along 696 westbound after Gratiot. That wreck there is blocking the right lane. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Expecting it to feel like fall once again today. Partly cloudy this morning. Then more clouds in the afternoon. Seeing some slight peaks of sunshine popping out. Also a slight chance of a rain shower later. A high of 62 tonight. Partly cloudy. Could see a few showers after midnight. Your low 48. For Wednesday, hump day. Partly cloudy. Then showers developing later in the day, a high of 66. Mostly cloudy skies, 51 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
Attention SSI and other federal benefit recipients. If you did not file a tax return last year and have children under 17, you must act now to get the $500 economic impact payment per child this year. You must provide the IRS your child's information by September 30th. Go to irs.gov and use the non-filer tool by September 30th. That's irs.gov. This message produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening,
Sure.
who's able to hear more than what's being said, and can provide tailored solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from jobs to the cloud and solutions,
It's me and the commercial
Pro platform.
Hello.
Hello.
I was chatting with the people last break over the commercials. I didn't mind. I just
Just right over the
yeah, I just chat with them right over the commercials. Put a little music under my voice. It never hurts.
Paul says you were doubled with WJR audio.
That's what he means. And I was just chatting with the various people who checked in this morning, and I think the commercials were playing. So he was probably letting me know that nobody could understand what I was saying because I was talking at the same time the commercials were.
So Thomas Titone says idiots. Who are the idiots, Thomas? I can't tell.
I think we were talking about getting flu shots and whatnot, and then Bill Gates was there, and Susan said she got sick from the flu shot. She took the flu shot, got sick, and then she stopped for 10 years and hasn't been sick since. I said, I can't say I don't feel that way to some extent. The flu shot has to find me. I don't find the flu shot.
Yeah, I know it's very controversial, but my mom actually, a couple years ago, well, now it's been more than a couple years ago, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, had a flu shot, and then she also had at the same time a gallbladder issue, and she ended up with Guillain-Barré, which is a condition that it's very rare, but some people do get it from the flu shot, and you become completely paralyzed.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's and she's gone through it now. She's in the 5th year, and she has to have special antibody treatments every 2 weeks to keep herself from being paralyzed. And so, there are some side effects from it, but I know that many people believe in it, and so I'm not saying what people should do. I'm one of those. I'm not going to tell somebody else what to do.
Right.
I just so I understand.
Yeah, that's tough when you hear a story like that, and then I don't know, you don't know, but
right. And some people, I have a sister who had to get one. She works with children, and she had to get one. And a lot of doctors and nurses feel strongly. Actually, they feel strongly both ways. It's just a controversial topic, and it leads to another issue of how quickly do we think Americans are going to be to get a COVID-19 shot if it comes out too soon?
Yeah, right. No, if you're worried about the flu shot doing something to you, you're definitely not going to be early in line for the COVID vaccine.
Right. Yeah.
But people will take it. It depends. Like if they say you can fly or you can go somewhere if you've had it, and you want to go somewhere, then you'll probably get it. So I don't know. I probably won't race for that one either.
No, I'm not going to be the first in line on that. Mm-mm.
Hey, on this next segment, we pick up Jeff at around 7:11 or 7:12. Steve will know to get out at that time.
He should, yes. He usually is pretty good about that. Well, the first 2 games, Coach didn't have too much to say.
He was out by 7:02.
7:11. Today will be a better situation because we have better news.
Okay.
So yeah, but we should be pretty close on that.
Okay.
And then Brian will help you get into
Business Beat.
Well, and also into your other interview, your Unlock Michigan interview.
Oh yeah, it's we'll have to talk about that.
Exactly.
I threw at the end of that. I threw to traffic, but if we want to come out of it live, just let me know, and I can throw to traffic live too.
I think it's great that you threw to traffic. Who is it? Who did that interview, Kev, with you?
That's the spokesperson, and actually, I think he's the founder of Unlock Michigan. His name's Fred. I get his name. There's a silent WS on it. It's Zolek, but it's like WSZOLEK, something to that effect.
So is
WSZOLEK? Yeah, Fred Zolek.
That's going to be an interesting interview because
yeah,
is he worried about the law?
So it's interesting in that he's sort of like, well, good. I'm glad because this fraudulent trainer came into our program. He thinks a Democrat purposely infiltrated his group and then called a buddy to film it, to leak it, to he's got this whole conspiracy theory to the whole idea of it. And so he's like, well, good, that they can catch this guy now and he can get in trouble for what he did. Our organization didn't do anything wrong, but I suggested he might be a little bit naive since the Attorney General, the governor, have both come out saying that stripping the governor of her powers during a pandemic is a bad idea. And an investigation typically slows down any process like this to make the changes. And there's an election in 40 days. And so there's a lot more. There's a lot more going on there.
There's a lot more going on there. Yeah, that's going to be fascinating to see what happens there.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Okay, so I'm assuming our guests are good to go.
Yeah, it looks like they're here.
And say they're ready to go. Steve and Matt Patricia. All right. I'll be back.
Owners lose millions of dollars by hiring the wrong exit company. If you want out of your timeshare, call Newton Group at 800-800-1764 for your free no obligation consultation and free copy of the guide. That's 800-800-1764 or newtongroup.com.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
After the Detroit Lions' big win against Arizona, Coach Matt Patricia said, "Love to win. Love it. It's great. It was awesome. Love it for the guys." He also said, "But, there's a lot to learn from, too. If you go into the approach that everything's great from that standpoint, you're missing a great opportunity to get better and to learn from what happened on Sunday." Joining us now is our own Steve Courtney and Coach Matt Patricia. Coach, I hope you took a few hours to enjoy the win as much as the fans did.
Yeah, always enjoy it. There's no doubt. Obviously just really excited for the fans and for the guys, but it's the NFL. It's always next week. So we're on to the Saints trying to get ready to go.
Coach, good morning. A couple of days after the fact, I got to tell you, I'm still giddy and I'm just drinking coffee. But here's the thing. You have discussed throughout this season, this team needs to stay in the moment. I thought there was a couple of situations in the tilt against the Cardinals that showed just that. Cardinals able to take that 13-10 lead in the second quarter. Still 1:53 left on the clock. You got to throw to Agnew, throw to Hawkinson. Next thing you know, you got the touchdown pass to Kenny Golladay. At the half, you're up 17-13. That was a pretty big moment there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a great drive offensively. Doing a good job before the half, and you're exactly right. Just try to, play one play at a time, and really the flip side of that, after we did score the touchdown, there was some time left on the clock, and Arizona came out and they were trying to get something going. I thought the defense did a good job of being disciplined, and they wound up getting the penalty before the half, and kind of we went on to the half without them having any opportunity to kick a field goal or anything along those lines. So. That was important for us, before the half to go in and try to get something done. So that was great.
Another huge moment, obviously, in the fourth quarter, looking at a 2nd and 5 at our 47. Matthew just throws a complete dime to big play Marvin Hall. Probably would have been, after review, a touchdown, but there was a hold and it's called back. Now, you talk about staying in the moment. You go from what would have been probably the game-winning touchdown to being back in a situation, 2nd and 15, back at our 37. This team was able to stay in the moment and ensure that Matt Prater would be in a position to kick that game-winning field goal. That was pretty big.
Yeah, I thought that was a great job, by the team, by the offense, and by the guys on the field. Those are really hard situations. You get a big play, you get the ball all the way down there, you think you scored, and you don't. And a lot of times, that can really take a lot out of a team when that happens. So just really proud of the guys for, them being able to handle that situation and battle back. Those are not easy. That doesn't happen all the time. So, that was a great example for us to hopefully be able to build on.
And defensively, able to force Kyler Murray. This game is built so much on the sudden change, and defensively able to come up with 3 huge interceptions, and one, of course, by the rookie Jeff Okudah. And I'm sure he saved that ball, but there's a lot to build on there moving forward.
Yeah, I thought, that was great. Deron Harmon early in the game, with his turnover, and obviously it was a good combination of rush and coverage right there. And, we had that opportunity, took advantage of it. So, that was good to see. It was good to kind of, get those going there a little bit on defense and get the ball back to our offense. Certainly in a game like this with the Cardinals, with the great offense that they have, and as explosive and dynamic, as they are in offense, it was, critical for us to be able to try to get some turnovers, and just, really, excited for the guys to be able to get that done.
Coach, I know how you feel about, a victory. It is a very long season. And as we've discussed in the past, winning at this level is hard. However, when you take everything into consideration that this team has been through, this had to be a pretty damn good moment for this team as you prepare for the remainder of the schedule.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, it was great. There was a lot of excitement. The guys were fired up, and they should be. They went out and they worked really hard. Like I said, before. I think, we only have one time a week where we got to go out and try to, do the best we can to win. And that's what everyone sees. But I think this team works really hard every other day during the week. And, to be able to obviously go out and celebrate on Sunday, that's what you're trying to do. And just, really excited for the guys.
Up next, back to the friendly confines of beautiful Ford Field, Drew Brees and those New Orleans Saints coming off the home loss to the Packers on Sunday night, a game I'm sure that you were watching intently. Drew Brees throwing at a 70% clip. The crafty veteran, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, behind a great offensive line, only been sacked 3 times. However, you talk about accounting for somebody. Alvin Kamara, just a dynamic offensive personality, Coach.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, just, a guy that can just kind of hurt you in so many different ways. Obviously, I think, he's got, 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing, receiving touchdowns. And I think that hasn't been done since like Roger Craig back in the day. So just a dynamic, explosive playmaker, a guy that can, turn anything into a home run ball. So we're going to have our work cut out for us here defensively. Drew Brees is obviously a phenomenal quarterback. Sean Payton does a great job of preparing his team every week. So, they're going to be fired up and ready to go. They don't really lose too many back-to-back games down there. So I know they're going to come up here ready to try to do everything they can to get a victory.
All right, Coach. No need to ride the roller coaster. Let's keep her going. Appreciate your time as always, sir.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great day, and got to get ready to go beat the Saints.
You bet. Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Take care.
All right. There you go, Kev.
All right, Steve. Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach Matt Patricia. Now let's check WJR Business Beat. Here's Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of Startup Nation, to spotlight the entrepreneurial tech and startup community on WJR.
Good morning, Kevin. Well, here's a really cool resource that entrepreneurs or marketers can use to help figure out trending consumer sentiments. And if you understand that, you can understand where opportunity is, both in the form of what products or services might be really desired in the marketplace at any given time, what's trending for the future as likely to be hot, as well as to understand what channels consumers are using to access the information you want to make sure you get out in front of them with. And the best part? It's all free and readily available at your fingertips. That's right. Just go to Google and check out the data they make available based on Google search, the keywords that people are using in order to find information they're most interested in. Big research firms even use the tool. Colin Sebastian is an analyst with Robert W. Baird, a wealth management company. He tracks data so that his firm can offer their clients the most leading edge thinking about the best money management moves to make. Here are some examples. Did you know Google search volume for outdoor dining, for example, fell 2.5% in volume over last week? How about restaurants falling 6% over last week? Yelp fell 3%. Searches for Uber fell 5%, for Lyft 8%. And how about this? We're even seeing a slight decline in social media interest. For example, interest in Instagram fell 1% over the prior week. Snapchat fell 4%. Twitter fell 5%. Having insights in trending searches helps you plan what to sell and what the best channels are for creating the awareness you need to get your product or service known in the marketplace. And having this information helps you hone your focus and your resource spend. The tool is called Google Trends. You simply enter a search query just as you would as if you were searching using Google, and Google will provide you with the relevant search trending data that helps you with this decision making. So if you're an entrepreneur looking to find key insights to help guide your business decisions, check out Google Trends. That's a hot tip for the day. I'm Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of StartupNation.com, and that's today's Business Beat on the great voice of the Great Lakes, WJR.
All right, Jeff.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Some good news out there, Kevin, in Roseville, 696 westbound after Gratiot. Earlier accident is clear. Also, Palmer Road, eastbound and westbound between Benoit and Merriman Road, that has reopened. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
That'll be cool here as we head through the next couple of days with a reinforcing shot of chilly air coming on in. Clouds mixed with sunshine this morning. See a little more cloud later today, 63. Tonight, a few clouds around 48. Suburbs a little bit cooler. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 60s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagicon, News Talk 760 WJR.
Here's your chance to talk to the doctor. Tune in tonight at 7:05 p.m. to listen to renowned physicians, surgeons, and other medical experts share their expertise on the live 1-hour Colander Medical Radio Show on News Talk 760 WJR.
Lear, a global automotive technology leader in seating and e-systems, has a reputation for identifying industry trends and acting on them. As the industry continues to transform, Lear faces the future of the vehicle with an even bolder vision, one that is connected, electrified, and sustainable, and one that enables them to make every product, every experience, and every drive better than the one that came before it. Lear, making every drive better. To learn more, visit Lear.com.
Hi, this is Mitch Albom, inviting companies large and small to take the popcorn pledge today. Order holiday tins of gourmet popcorn to support Say Detroit charities. You can order it now at brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge.
My Warren, the city that cares about the people that call Warren, Michigan their home. Warren Mayor Jim Fouts announces free COVID-19 testing now through Christmas for any Warren resident.
I don't think there's any other city that does extensive COVID-19 testing like we do. It's free, and we have partnered with Wayne State University and Macomb Health Department. I thank both of them. And so every Thursday at Warren City Hall through Christmas time from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., you just have to RSVP on the city website. And we're also testing with the state at the Fitzgerald Rec Center, which is located near 9 and Ryan. And that's on Monday, Tuesdays, and Saturdays, all free. And I don't know any other city that's doing as much testing, so everybody's welcome, particularly Warren residents.
Free COVID-19 testing now through Christmas. Go online to reserve an appointment at mywarren.org.
It's September, and if you're looking for any type of vehicle, come see what we can do for you. Hi friends, Bill Golling here, remind you about our 6, soon-to-be 7 dealerships. We have Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, and Roseville. Golling Alfa Romeo Fiat in Birmingham. Golling Buick GMC in Lake Orion. Golling Toyota in Warren, and opening soon, Golling Kia on 14 Mile Road east of John R. and Madison Heights. Since 1966, we've been honored to serve your automotive needs. Learn more online at Golling.com. That's Golling.com.
Hi, this is Macomb County Executive Mark Hackel. These past few months have been anything but normal. We've faced challenges we've never experienced before. Yet, due to everyone's efforts, progress has been made. Infection and hospitalization counts are down, and the death rate is extremely low. Together, we have flattened the curve. But remember, continue to follow CDC guidelines to keep you and your family safe. For more information, go to macombgov.org.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel is opening an investigation into the group Unlock Michigan following allegations that members associated with the group may have engaged in criminal activity in collecting petition signatures to repeal state law. The Attorney General's office has received complaints from residents who report they were deceived by petition circulators who are gathering signatures to support the efforts of Unlock Michigan, which is trying to repeal the 1945 Emergency Powers of the Governor Act. Residents said they were told the petitions were to support LGBTQ rights for medical marijuana initiatives or to help small businesses, among other things. Recent media reports have also revealed what appears to be at least one official working for Unlock Michigan campaign who was training petition circulators and suggested they use deceptive and potentially illegal tactics to gain signatures for the ballot initiative. The Attorney General said any potential charges that may be filed against Unlock Michigan and its members will depend on whether criminal activity took place and the evidence your efforts to try and take away the governor's powers to have all these emergency acts.
We don't think this has a whole lot to do with us, frankly. We've run a very professional, very clean operation. The very first piece of content we put on our website, in fact, was a training video featuring Carl, the very famous barber from Owasso, training people how to properly collect these signatures. And he pointed out that, make no mistake, literally, these petitions are going to be very carefully scrutinized, and we have to dot our I's and cross our T's. And that's been the way we've approached this whole thing. Now, we are aware that there are some people that have been circulating for money, that have been circulating both our petition and the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act petition involving LGBT rights. And when you do both of those at the same time, like generally the way they do it is they put one petition on one side of the clipboard and one petition on the other side of the clipboard, and they say, here, sign this. And sometimes they present the wrong side of the clipboard. So they're trying to get them to sign the one, and they accidentally show them the other. That's not all that uncommon. But here's what sets our petition apart from a lot of others. You can actually read it. It's one sentence long. Now, you've probably seen these before where it's a 12-page legal document with fine print. Nobody standing outside of a post office is going to stand there and read and understand 12 pages of, tiny little print. Ours is a single sentence. I think it's 12 or 13 words. Tells you exactly what it's going to do. So if you're not sure what our proposal is going to do, we've just been telling people, hey, just read it for yourself. That's all. I mean, we're not trying to mislead anybody. We've collected over 500,000 signatures in fewer than 80 days. And it's been easy because there's a lot of demand for this. If you think you've got to mislead somebody into signing it, you're just standing in the wrong place.
So what is uncommon, though, is that the Attorney General's office is opening an investigation because what you're talking about is mistakes that are made in an effort to get signatures. Of course, mistakes are made probably in every effort to get signatures, but it's not, and I don't remember ever seeing the Attorney General open an investigation, but they are into Unlock Michigan. Do you think you're being targeted because of what the petition is asking, or do you think the Attorney General just feels there's so much here that it needs to be looked at, not necessarily at your organization, but at the people who are gathering the signatures?
Well, there's one person in particular who deserves some scrutiny. There's this Eric Kissinger gentleman who is a liberal political activist and operative from California, who was in Michigan working for the Elliott Larson petition drive. And then when he was done with that and they dismissed him, he somehow turned up working for one of the subcontractors who were working for us. And then he was the one who appeared on a hidden camera video saying outrageous things, telling people how to cheat, how to lie, how to deceive, how to perjure themselves if they were ever investigated. And then he disappeared. He's gone, won't return anybody's calls. Don't know where he is. Probably California. It's a good guess. But maybe the Attorney General can find him and ask him why he said those things. He seems like he deserves to be investigated. But that has nothing to do with us because we're going to turn in more than 500,000 signatures on Friday, and none of them will be from this company after he did that training on video. We're just setting all of those aside and not turning them in. His activity, his illegal behavior has nothing to do with the petitions we're turning in on Friday. So there's no excuse for the Secretary of State's office not to begin immediate validation of our submission.
So you're saying that, hey, if somebody did something wrong, go after him and charge him and go after this Eric guy if he did this. And we're all behind the AG's investigation. But doesn't that seem like a little bit of wishful thinking on your part, that that's what this investigation is going to entail? Just an all-out effort by the AG to go after this one petition gatherer, trainer, as you described?
It would be nice if I could have 100% confidence that the Attorney General was operating in purely good faith here. I think there's politics involved. She's opposed to this. They've all made it clear that they're opposed to taking away the governor's ability to govern by decree. I get it. But we ought to be able to separate this investigation into this one guy who was training people how to lie, cheat, and perjure themselves, and the exercise by 500,000 people of the constitutional right they have to initiate legislation. One is not conditioned by the other. So we can go ahead, move forward with validating these signatures that were, put on sheets by 500,000 Michiganders and allow them to exercise their constitutional right to have legislation considered promptly by the legislature. And then on the other hand, go after this guy in California if you can get him back here to answer questions. We haven't been able to get him to answer his phone.
Do you think that will happen, or do you think it's more likely that this will be used as a reason why they can't move forward on this until after there's a new legislature in place, after the elections and after the first of the year?
That's what they're thinking. We're hoping they're not going to be that brazen and not be that transparent because, look, I mean, whether you like it or not, people are exercising their constitutional rights. I wasn't a big fan of the voters, not politicians ballot proposal, but you know what? It passed. They got the signatures. They put it on the ballot. They persuaded people to vote for it. Now we have this redistricting commission. We'll see if it works. Probably won't, but They got their at bat and it worked for them. We've done everything by the book. We've collected a record number of signatures in a record short period of time. And now it's time for the Secretary of State's office to do their job just as quickly so that the legislature can finish the job themselves.
All right, Fred Zolik, full steam ahead for Unlock Michigan. We'll see how this turns out. We'll be watching it closely. Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's check weather and traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If finding a high-impact hire is a serious goal for your business, use Indeed. Their flexible payment options mean better bang for your buck with no long-term contracts. Indeed will even give you a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/high-impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Pretty quiet drive out there right now, Kevin. Just looking at slow traffic, 94 westbound between 12 and 11 Mile. Also construction in Roseville, 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck. Your two left lanes are closed until 5 p.m. today. Traffic is backed up from at least 94. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Reamer Floors. National Karastan Month is happening now at Reamer Floors. Lowest prices of the season, 36-month financing and instant rebate up to $1,000 on Karastan carpet, hardwood, and luxury vinyl floors. Visit reamerfloors.com to schedule your shop at home or in-store appointment. It's going to feel like fall once again today. Chilly conditions and cool, partly cloudy this morning. Could see a slight chance of a rain shower this afternoon, a high of only 62 tonight, partly cloudy. Could see a few showers after midnight, your low 48. Wednesday, some clouds once again, showers later in the day, a high of 66. Mostly cloudy skies, 51 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Marie Osborne in about 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Mitch Albom, inviting companies large and small to take the popcorn pledge today. Order holiday tins of gourmet popcorn to support Say Detroit charities. You can order it now at brownbagpopcorn.com/pledge.
Donald Trump says we're not safe in Biden's America, but we're living in Trump's America now. And 200,000 Americans have died from the virus that he lied about.
The simple truth is, Donald Trump failed to protect America. So now he's trying to scare America. Mr. Trump, you want to talk about fear? Do you know if people are afraid they're going to get COVID? They're afraid they're going to get sick and die. And that is in no small part because of you.
Joe Biden will protect the American people, putting our safety above all else.
I want a safe America, safe from COVID, safe from crime and looting, safe from racially motivated violence. I promise you this, we will do better. There's not a single thing beyond our capacity when we decide to do it together. I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Continental Structural Plastics Advanced Composites enable vehicle designs unattainable in metal. From the drawing board to the road, CSP turns cool concepts into reality. Infinite possibilities, brought to you by CSP, a Tajan Group company. Learn more at cspplastics.com. Vince, active and healthy, suffered back-to-back debilitating concussions.
The first one was hockey, and the second one was on a jet ski.
Even after the ER doctor sent him home, weeks later, he was still suffering symptoms.
I had dizziness, fogginess, really slow. I couldn't talk very well. I couldn't get a thought out. I would process things in my head, but then they wouldn't reach my lips. Just not being able to function was my biggest problem.
Lucky for Vince, he had heard about Oxford Recovery Center and the benefits hyperbaric oxygen therapy has on those with traumatic brain injuries.
One day I decided that I needed oxygen, and it really helped. The studies are there that it works wonderfully for head injuries. The brain needs oxygen.
Yeah, Paul, we're
if you or someone you love
chit chat today with you guys.
Don't
Lots of commercials, not so many secrets. That last segment was taped, obviously, so that's why I was just listening in and looking into the next segment here. Yeah, the Coach Patricia seemed like he was in a much better mood this week. That was good. Steve Courtney is always great. I love listening to him interview these guys. Yeah, no more commercial than usual. Same amount of commercials. No, I guess what I meant is we usually stop them while in the breaks while we're chatting with the Facebook people. Ann's been busy on social media, so I've just been sort of listening to commercials and looking into what the next segment's going to be. But we appreciate everybody who comes in on Facebook, and we're happy to have you talk amongst yourselves or listen to the commercials. You know, those commercials are important to paying the bills around WJR, aren't they, Ann?
Oh, absolutely. I see somebody's complaining about the commercials.
Well, they're just playing instead of us chit-chatting and giving behind-the-scenes secrets. They're just looking at me sitting there reading.
Oh, they're looking for some behind-the-scenes secrets. So, a question about that last interview.
Yeah.
Because there was somebody that was doing things that would be, let's just say, questionable.
Right.
Wouldn't that make the petition gathering process problematic? Like, won't a judge likely say, because I can't tell how many petition signers were influenced by this particular person, we're not, this is illegitimate?
It could. What Fred is saying is that they collected so many signatures. They collected 500,000. They only needed 300,000, so they had 200,000 extra. So what they did was they discounted and did not turn in any of the signatures from the time that guy started working there.
Okay.
So they only turned in signatures prior to him starting his job there or working there. So they discounted all that guy's votes, signatures, and all the people he got signatures from, and they were still well over the amount they needed. Now, the Attorney General said there was other problems. Some people had complaints that they thought they were signing up for medical marijuana or other issues that were not related to the governor's powers. And Fred said what happens there is there's sometimes a ballot on one side is one issue, and then you flip the card over on the other side, it's another ballot. And sometimes they do make mistakes. He wasn't saying they were intentionally doing that or that it happened a lot, but he felt that they had so many signatures beyond what was needed that they should move forward. But the governor does not want to give up these powers during a pandemic, and she's going to fight it. The Attorney General filing this starting an investigation is definitely going to slow it down. The thought is if the elections happen and the Republicans lose the Senate in Michigan and they come back in January and the Democrats are in charge in Michigan, they won't ever pass it. So it never happen.
Yeah.
So delay would be good in that situation for Democrats or people who want to keep the governor's powers from that 1945 law. Moving quickly would get it to the Republicans who have openly said they want the legislature to be a part of the decision making, not just the governor, writing executive orders.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what number she's on, but there's been about 170 of them or something. There's a lot.
I believe we're at 186.
But the Michigan's started at the very high end of the numbers and moved to the low end of the numbers. I'm not a numbers expert, don't hold me to this, but that's what it looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
That whatever she's doing has been successful, and maybe we're overly cautious, but it seems to be working.
I know. It's
unless you own a business and you're one of there's 25% of businesses that are permanently closed down and all
right.
other aspects of the issue, but
it's a very tough issue because we know how contagious this is. We know that something had to be done, and it seems as if what was done here was very effective, right? But on the other hand, we hear so many stories of people hurting, and like you say, their business is closed or significantly impacted. It's a tough time.
Well, and you look at that death rate again. That death rate is low. It's low, and you look at the death rate of heart attacks and cancer. They're so much higher, and you're not shutting down work because people are so stressed out they're dying of heart attacks. So I don't know. It's tricky. I assume that they shut the whole world down because they knew if they didn't, this thing would have been a
disaster,
a massive killer. So
Well, look at already though. I mean, even with the restrictions, you've got over 1 million people dead worldwide in 7 months. And
yeah,
200,000 plus in the United States, and we're taking precautions. What would
right.
happen if they did nothing?
Yeah, would it be 10 times that?
I don't know. It would be interesting to get somebody on about that. If nothing was done, what would it
have looked like?
Yeah, what would
It-
the actuaries and
It'd probably be over with by now because it would have run its course, right? We just don't know what the devastation would have been.
That's a good point. We might not be here. We might not
Yeah.
be talking right now.
And then I don't know what those numbers are compared to other plagues from, decades past, or, it's weird. I would not want to be in the seat to make a decision on
Your appointment called
shutting down the government versus saving lives. It's tough.
Very tough
Are you
to
going to hang in here and talk debate until Aaron shows up? Or
no Aaron yet. Maybe we should call Aaron. Yes, I'm here. Let me have Brian call Aaron.
Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, 9 p.m. tonight. The moderator is Fox News host Chris Wallace. Due to COVID concerns, the audience will be limited to 70 people. There will be no handshake between the candidates. Social distancing between candidates will be in play. 3/4 of voters say they will be watching tonight, and 13% of undecided voters say they expect to see something tonight that could influence them on who they're going to vote for. And I know you're going to be watching. What are you going to be watching for most?
I am going to be watching to see how each candidate behaves during the debate, during the 90 minutes. Like, what's the demeanor? When controversial issues come up, which will be probably the entire debate, how will they handle it? Will Joe Biden stay calm, or will he become angry and irritated? And the same for President Trump. So I'm going to be watching the personality part of it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm just to your point, you watch the president and he seems like he's at his best during a rally, and that's what he likes. But you wonder if, because he's trying to sway independents or uncommitted voters, if he'll try and be more presidential, or if he'll just be himself and try and be more like a rally. And Joe Biden, he's been pretty subdued in his interviews, but his commercials are feisty. I mean, he's been fighting. So you wonder if he's going to come out. We want to check in with Aaron Call, University of Michigan Director of Debates. He has also recently completed the second edition of Debating the Donald, a book that analyzes every Trump primary and general election debate. And he's been previewing the upcoming Trump-Biden debates. Aaron, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's great to be back.
So Ann and I were just discussing temperament and what to expect. Which Donald Trump will we see? Will we see someone that we see at the rallies, that kind of spirited Donald Trump, or someone trying to be more presidential? And on the other hand, which Joe Biden will come out? Will he be angry? Will he be fired up? Will he sound like the commercials that are playing now, or will he be more subdued like he's been in many of his interviews over the past couple of months? What are you expecting to see tonight in the first debate?
I think it's going to be a real contrast of style, just because both of them have such different things to do. And, we come into this race that, if we don't know what to think of the polls from 2016, but everything says that Joe Biden has a lead nationally and in important swing state and battleground polls in states like Michigan and others that were real integral in 2016. And so, Joe Biden doesn't need an overwhelming performance, doesn't need to change the narrative of what's happening. It's been a pretty steady race for over the last year. And so I think he'll be a little bit more subdued, want to stick to policy and facts and just, turn in an average performance, just because also he benefits from really low expectations. President Trump's tried to create kind of a caricature of him, and those low expectations, people don't think Joe Biden's going to win the debates. And so he doesn't need to do as much. But conversely, President Trump, has a lot to do. There's only about 5 weeks left of the race. A lot of people have already voted early, and he really needs something that changes the overall narrative of what people are talking about. And, a major mistake that Biden makes, that people then question whether he's up to the job for 4 years. And so he's going to try to do everything he can to egg him on and get him to make a mistake, get his facts wrong. So that, I think, becomes the narrative heading into the election.
If you feel like President Trump needs a big win tonight, do you think he was wise to not practice any more than he did, to kind of say, hey, every day I'm practicing, these press conferences I go through are practice enough for a debate? A debate actually is a little different than a press conference.
Oh, much different. And, we've seen these press conferences. As president, you get to control the topics, who you call on. If something's not going your way, you can call on OAN or, for help from a friendly reporter that's there. You can end the press conference whenever you like. And all those things are not analogous to an actual debate. So, no, I agree 100% that even though, 84 million people to 100 million people could watch this, it's one of the last things that could impact the race. I don't believe the president is treating it in formal debate prep as seriously as he should. And I think he could find a rude awakening. His first debate in New York in 2016, that was his worst debate. And part of that was because he didn't do formal debate prep, didn't have a stand-in, and he's repeating the same problems. And you only magnify the fact that he hasn't had a formal debate in almost 4 years, where Joe Biden had 11 debates in the primaries. He had a one-on-one debate with Bernie Sanders back in March. And just incumbent presidents in general do very poorly in their first debate because they haven't debated in so long. They're busy with their regular day job. They can't schedule or execute practice. And then also all their advisors kind of aren't really honest with them because, the power imbalance and their president. And so there's a lot of things, including expectations, that are going against the president heading into this really important debate. But we'll see. But that's why we have 3. And so even with a really poor performance, he could rebound in the second and third debate. We saw something similar in 2016.
What do you think undecided voters are looking for tonight? Are they looking more for personality, or are they looking at the issues more?
I think both, and sometimes the personalities inform the issues. One thing with this cycle is that there's just so fewer undecided voters. Back in 2016, we had maybe 10, 20% hadn't made up their minds when we started the debates. There was a lot more third-party candidates and options. This time, I think polling shows maybe only 3%, maybe as many as 5% are undecided. I mean, there are a lot of people that voted for Barack Obama, then Donald Trump, and then in 2018 voted for Nancy Pelosi and helped turn the House Democratic. And so they do exist, and they're low information, so they don't really follow politics in the day-to-day, and they tune in. They just kind of want to see, it's like a job interview. Who makes them feel most comfortable? Who do they think has the best temperament on the issues that they talk about, like the economy? Who has the best agenda and vision to go forward? Obviously, things with job creation and economic growth were pretty well pre-coronavirus, and that's President Trump's strength. But then we've taken a dip because of this pandemic for the last 6 months, and who has the most confident to get a vaccine distributed to everyone and get the economy back back on track, and other important issues like race relations, Supreme Court. And so they're looking for kind of a certain comfort level. I don't think it's any one particular moment, and sometimes they like to wait to see all 3 debates, but they want to see someone that they can connect with and has a good temperament for the job, and then are also confident that their policies are going to lead to a better future for themselves. But in these debates, being optimistic, forward-looking, those are usually things that all voters, including undecided ones, latch on to.
All right, Aaron Call, University of Michigan, Director of Debates. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Anytime. Take care.
All right. Yeah, with only 3% undecided this time, it may be that Joe Biden and President Trump go after their base tonight instead of going after the undecided. We'll see. 9 o'clock tonight. Right now, let's check in with traffic and weather and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Traffic First also sponsored by Marathon. No matter where your travels take you, Marathon can improve your engine performance with quality top-tier gasoline. Marathon, fueling the American spirit. 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck. 2 left lanes are closed for construction until 5 p.m. today, so seeing delays from at least 94. Also, slow ride 75 northbound between 696 and 11 Mile. Also tapping the brakes northbound 75 between Big Beaver and Crooks. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Reamer Floors. National Karastan Month is happening now at Reamer Floors. Lowest prices of the season, 36-month financing, and an instant rebate up to $1,000 on Karastan carpet, hardwood, and luxury vinyl floors. Visit ReamerFloors.com to schedule your shop at home or in-store appointment.
Get ourselves into some clearing sky today. Now the front's through, clouds around as we head on through the early morning hours, but a cloud-sun mix will become mostly cloudy later today with a high of 63. Few clouds tonight, 48. Outlying areas a little bit cooler. And we should see some showers and thunderstorms in here Wednesday with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagik on News Talk 760 WJR.
Tune into a special edition of The Frank Beckman Show live from the Strategic Staffing Solutions new global headquarters in Detroit to celebrate their 30th year in business this Thursday at 9 a.m. This special broadcast is presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions.
Lear, a global automotive technology leader in seating and e-systems, has a reputation for identifying industry trends and acting on them. As the industry continues to transform, Lear faces the future of the vehicle with an even bolder vision, one that is connected, electrified, and sustainable, and one that enables them to make every product, every experience, and every drive better than the one that came before it. Lear, making every drive better. To learn more, visit Lear.com.
Confidence. It's important to have when you're on the road. Bridgestone and Firestone tires are engineered to give you peace of mind, so you can focus on enjoying the journey. Bridgestone is proud to support their global OE and aftermarket customers. Bridgestone, your journey, our passion.
Attention SSI and other federal benefit recipients. If you did not file a tax return last year and have children under 17, you must act now to get the $500 economic impact payment per child this year. You must provide the IRS your child's information by September 30th. Go to irs.gov and use the non-filer tool by September 30th. That's irs.gov. This message produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening.
Sure.
Who's able to hear more than what's being said and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
The Inside Outside Guys wants to be your trusted resource for any and all of your housing needs. Hey, Chuck, a lot of the remodelers went to Congress to talk about the CARES Act.
Whoa. That sounds political.
It is political, but it has to do with housing, too.
Ken, we agreed not to do politics on the show.
No politics at all?
If you want a stress-free show, no politics, housing only, listen every Saturday and Sunday to the Inside Outside Guys.
For housing information you can trust, go to theinsideoutsideguys.com.
The Inside Outside Guys is brought to you in part by Pro Home Improvement.
Protect your home from the upcoming fall and winter weather with a new roof system from Pro Home Improvement. Choose Pro Home Improvement and save big. They will upgrade your roof system to the Landmark Pro Series for free, giving you more durability and protection. Also get a 50-year guarantee and a free cap master. Same as cash financing available. Pay no interest until 2022. Get a free estimate today. Go to ProHomeMI.com. That's ProHomeMI.com to hire the pros that know.
Looking for a way to give back to your community, learn new skills, and make a real difference? Consider volunteering with your local fire department. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers, answering the call when their community needs them the most. Be part of a dedicated team of volunteers who step up and protect their community from all types of hazards. You can be the difference. There's no typical.
I'm here in case you need me, Kev.
All right.
I see that it's funny. These callers are all okay. I've got no number. I sent you a number. Tell Brian I sent him a number. I sent you a number. Yikes. All right, hang on a second.
The
I know, wait.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
The issues at tonight's debate are supposed to be the Trump and Biden records, the Supreme Court, COVID-19, the economy, race and violence in our cities, and the integrity of the election. But will the October surprises take over the debate tonight? There's a report on Hunter Biden and his financial dealings. There's also a report on Donald Trump's taxes. Will that become the biggest blockbuster of tonight's debate? And I know you're going to be watching tonight, and I know that Chris Wallace is pretty good at keeping candidates where they're supposed to be, and he has said that he wants to stick to the issues that he has laid out. But how tempting is it going to be for these candidates to try and get in some digs? Obviously, the news cycles have been focused the last 24 hours on Donald Trump's taxes, and before that, looking at Hunter Biden.
Oh, I think it's going to be very tempting. I think that will be front and center, and it's going to be interesting to see how the tax issue and the Hunter Biden issue is handled, how both those issues are handled by each candidate. Fascinating.
Yeah, there's no opening statement, so it's not going to come out that way. They're going to have to get into it based off of one of these other 6 issues that Chris Wallace has set up. So we'll have to see how that works out. We want to check in now with our guest, Dan Snell, a specialist on politics and leadership. He's held office 5 different times, and he's the author of a soon-to-be-released book called The Winsome Candidate. Dan, thanks for being on the show.
Great to be here with you and your Battleground State listeners.
I know we're excited. We got the popcorn ready. 9 o'clock can't come soon enough. We're told that 3/4 of voters are going to be watching tonight. So what are we going to see? We were talking a little bit about the October surprises, the report on Hunter Biden and the report on Donald Trump's taxes. Do you think that will take over the night somehow, or do you think Chris Wallace will be able to keep people on track?
I think Chris Wallace will be an excellent moderator. You're not able to shake Chris Wallace. He'll keep things on track. He'll probably get to those points, but you have 6 15-minute segments. That's for politicians who like to pontificate. That's a short time. So I think Chris Wallace will do a good job of keeping things in line.
So your book's coming out, The Winsome Candidate. What is the Winsome Candidate? What does that mean? And are we going to see a winsome candidate tonight at the debates?
Well, I would like to see a winsome candidate at the debates. I'd like to see winsome candidates everywhere. My book is about kind of a 40-year plus study of public service and elected officials over the years. And so I've just always been thankful that I've learned from some of the best in my life as I've held office. But I was trying to get America to look at a fresher way, go back to the old ways where elected officials talk about, what am I going to do? Here's my vision for the next 10 years for our country, or even 20 years, and specifically say, here's what I'm going to do for you, not make the other side bad so I can look good. That's what we've gotten into, is look at him, look at her, she's bad, he's bad, and aren't I good? People are hungry for leaders that say, here's how I'm going to lead, and come with me, and let's truly make this place we call home a better place to live.
Yeah, when I was in school, I was a political science major at school, and I used to love reading and studying about these fireside chats where the leaders of the different parties would get together and work through the issues and come up with what they thought was best for the country. Maybe it never really ever happened that way. I don't know. I wasn't there. But today, it doesn't seem to be like that. It seems to be this is our side is right, your side is wrong. On every issue, there's this division, and it seems the country can almost never come together except in massive tragedies like 9/11, like COVID when it first came out. Do you think there's any ability for it to get back to that?
Well, I believe so. I'm an eternal optimist, and I always believe in the American people and what people see as, hey, I would like to get back to that. You look at change that's taken place. Hey, I say with a smile, how many of your listeners remember smog? I mean, they're in Michigan. You had smog, or when cigarette smoking where everybody was cigarette smoking. So we changed in some key things to make the country better in a couple areas like smog and smoking. I think we can do it again. I think we can return back. Some of it may need to have to do with term limits and what's the real reason why we go to a Washington or to a state house to really serve the people, have an idea. You know, one of my mentors, he was a mayor of a local small city here, Lenexa, Kansas, suburb of Kansas City. He said, hey, people want to see their leaders working hard, staying positive, getting things done, and having fun doing so. People want to see positive leadership. I think we can return to that, and that's kind of part of my passion for a movement for the next few years.
Yeah, I talk to people, and they tend to say that they choose who they're going to vote for based on the issues, or sometimes even a single issue is what helps them decide. But I secretly think a lot of people vote based on the personality of the candidates. Who do they like, or maybe even more importantly, who do they trust? And I just wonder how you see it as you see these two candidates are going to stand up there tonight. Do they need to show their personality? Do they need to show that they can be trusted? Do they want to be liked? Does it even matter? Or do they just have to say, these are the most important issues in your life. This is where I stand on them, and hope that they win over the majority of the American people?
Boom, you nailed it. I really do believe that people want to have a leader that they like and they feel like they can trust. I was told early on when I first ran, the three things you need to be: believable, likable, and electable. And both these gentlemen are electable. They've proven that. They have to stand up there tonight. Are they believable in what they say? You know, people watch facial expressions. People watch how their tone is, and that will also impact how likable they are. And quite frankly, the president has accomplished so much, but across the board, sometimes people say, well, I know his tweets do that and his comments do that, but he still accomplished a lot. But there is a point where some of that may wear on people, and his style, I can't say, smiling, if he'd stay off Twitter, he'd have a 95% approval rating nationally, both parties. And if he would just control his demeanor, it would be a landslide. But sometimes it's Trump versus Trump, quite frankly, in this election.
Well, I'll be thinking about you tonight when I watch President Trump and Joe Biden debating, and when they get a little snarly with each other. Thanks for being on the show. We really appreciate your outlook.
Great to be with you.
All right. Author of The Winsome Candidate, Dan Snell. Let's check in now with traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by SafeExcavator.com. Call or click 811 before you dig. There's a lot of stuff underground you can't see, and every few minutes somebody digs into a line, pipe, cable, or wire. Don't be that person. Call or click 811 before you dig and visit SafeExcavator.com.
Seeing an accident reported along 94 westbound after Moross. That wreck there is blocking the right shoulder. Slow ride 75 northbound between Big Beaver and Crooks. Also tapping the brakes 75 northbound between 696 and 11 Mile. And also now a slow ride along US 23 northbound between I-475 and Monroe Street. Now WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Shelving.com. Shelving.com has been providing wire and metal shelving, Unirack, pallet racking, and space-saving products for 60 years. They now also carry trusted Milwaukee tools to get your warehouse or business equipped for the job at hand. Maximize space and work performance. Visit Shelving.com. That's Shelving.com. We rack your world. Fall-like day ahead once again this Tuesday. Partly cloudy. Could see a slight chance of rain this afternoon, a high of 62 tonight. Partly cloudy skies, a passing rain shower this evening. Can't be ruled out. Your low 48. Partly cloudy skies, 50 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 1 minute.
Time to get your fix of Lions news. Here's Lions Daily.
Hello.
Dan was interesting, wasn't he?
Yeah. I talked to him once before, and I really enjoyed it. He's just got a great outlook, and you just wonder if people are saying those things in candidates' ears, if they're remembering that. But when you think back to your favorite candidates or presidents or politicians, it's usually someone like that who is a great leader or, inspired you some way. It wasn't all this, how negative they were or what their thoughts were on this one issue. It was really their ability in a moment of crisis to lead. And it's interesting that wouldn't be a bad idea. Can you imagine if one or the other came out tonight and said, I know you've been hearing a lot of negative stuff, but I don't want to talk about that. Let's just talk about how important it is that we all get together and get on the same page and remember we're one country and we have COVID and we have the economy and we have these things. And the best way to work this out would be to work together. I don't think I'm going to see that at the debate tonight, but I bet people would respond positively to it.
Very positively, because I think people right now are looking for a candidate that kind of gives them a warm blanket. Like they're looking for somebody to say, you know what, I know that we're in a tough time. I'm going to guide you out of this. I'm going to help you. We're going to go get through this together. This isn't going to last forever, because there's a lot of coronavirus fatigue here.
Right.
And people are definitely on edge. I think even on issues that have nothing to do with coronavirus. And, I think you can see people are quick to become irritated a lot more easily than I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's funny because we always, in the news business, you always hear this, boy, if you just do more good news, I'd watch more often or I'd listen more often if you just did more good news. But then you do good news and people don't really tune in to talk about good news, or they don't repeat the good news story they saw. Sometimes something catches your heart and it does, but generally when you have a constant look at all these people who are helping people and doing good things, your ratings don't do well, or you would see more of that. People want to see the fighting and the drama and the troubles. And I don't know, with politics, those commercials come on and I don't know if they make an impact or not. They must, or they wouldn't do them. But you just feel like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming, all this negativity.
I know. It is just, and we already started with negativity. Even before the politics, we have had a really tough year. We've had a tough year with regard to race relations in this country, coronavirus. We're having a tough time.
Yeah, and if you think about what Dan was saying in that last interview, this would be a great time to pop out in that first debate and say, look, what we're seeing out here on the streets is not good. We need to address the issues that people are protesting, but we don't need to do it with violence, and we need to figure out COVID because we need to be healthy, and just have a discussion or a debate, you could call it.
Jabbing at each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's going to be like, you killed this many people. Yeah, well, you would have killed this many people.
Exactly.
You did this and you did that, and but that's, like I said, that probably would be more fun and better ratings if they go after each other than if they didn't. But I think every so often there's a rare opportunity to jump in and show some leadership and
lead.
Yeah, and be the better person. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fascinating to watch, to see what the real strategy is going to be. It really is. It's definitely worth watching. It'll also be interesting to see in the morning who watched.
Yeah.
What age group watched?
Right.
Will our group watch?
The young people. I was reading an article about young people and how they have showed up to protest, and they have taken to the streets to protest, but historically they don't show up to vote. And I was talking to some people about that, and they were saying, well, it depends on how easy it is to vote. If it's going to be a long line, young people probably won't vote again. If they can, vote easily by mail, they may be more likely to vote. So it'll be interesting to see.
So, you like to vote in person?
I do.
Yeah, I forgot. You're the guy who goes and gets right in.
I really like it. I like that. I've been known sometimes to vote for a candidate who happens to be standing at my poll the day of the election, because we're trying to the last minute to try and win over a voter. Like, I'm talking more a real local,
like a school board or something.
Mhm.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. We just got our ballots yesterday, and it was interesting how they tracked it. So I went on the Farmington Hills City Clerk website to see where the ballot was, and it was tracking. Somebody tracks that, and it was that the ballot had been mailed out at such and such a day at such and such a time.
Right. They have that code on it, right?
It has a code on it,
And
and
well, and that's what people that I talked to, honestly, I don't know that much about it, but they said this big concern over fraud may be a little overblown because of the technology of the tracking. Now, if they throw out, 50,000 votes, that could be something else. Marie here with us today?
Standing by, yep.
He's Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
It is 8:06 in the morning on Tuesday, September the 29th. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Thanks for stopping by on WJR 760, where Detroit comes to talk. We're also live on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Marie Osborne and Ann Thomas are with us this morning. Good morning. How are you, Ann?
We're doing wonderfully. Looking forward to this evening.
I know the debate's going to be great. Marie, how are you doing? You hanging in there?
Yeah, we're hanging in here. And as Ann mentioned earlier, this is definitely a popcorn event tonight. I think a lot of people are very geared up to talk about and to see these two candidates together, because it is going to be the first time we see these two face to face together.
Yeah, it's National Coffee Day, but it should be National Popcorn Day, because I think there's going to be more popcorn consumed today than coffee as people get ready for this debate. And it's interesting. And I don't know, but I feel like it's one of those times where it's a family affair. Get the family together and watch this thing. And hey, kids, come into the room and watch this. I remember my dad calling me into the room and let me stay up late because Hank Aaron was going to beat Babe Ruth's record for a home run. And I remember staying up late and watching it happen. And I just think this is different. This isn't sports, but it's one of those times when I think people are really looking forward to watching this debate. And I think that people will be discussing it in their families. And I think it's an important evening for a lot of reasons, but it's going to be really important because this may be one of the big deciding factors on who the president's going to be.
And interestingly enough, I think a lot of people have had information overload due to the pandemic and politics. I think you hear a lot of people saying, oh, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. But I think this debate is really different. Just like you said, Kevin, I think a lot of people are definitely going to tune in and really want to see what happens.
But here's an interesting question for both of you. What age groups will be more likely to be tuned in tonight? Will it be people 40 and above, or do you think the millennials are going to be interested too?
So I got a call yesterday from one of my kids, 25 years old, and they said, "Hey, what time and what channel is the debate on?" They called on Monday, wanted to know what time. They didn't want to miss it. They were not going to be watching sports tonight. They were going to be watching this. And that age group of 25, and I was talking about an article in the break with you, Ann, but they showed up, the young people showed up on the streets to protest a lot this summer, all across the country. And the question is, will they show up to vote or not? And when I talked to my 25-year-old, he says his friends say they're going to vote. They talk about politics all the time, more than I remember talking about politics at 25 years old. And he thought, though, that not many were going to actually go vote unless it was really easy to vote, unless it was really easy to vote by mail. He didn't think people were going to go stand in lines. And we've seen that historically, that the young people, they're on social media, they have a lot of opinions, but they don't typically vote. And I'm just wondering if this will be different this time around.
The young people in my family as well, my children and their spouses or girlfriends and so on, are all saying the same thing, that they're engaged in this and they want to see what's going to happen in this debate. I think part of the reason why younger people don't stand, I mean, they're traditionally non-voters. I mean, that's true. But I think more than ever, because something that you hit on there, saying that they, unless they don't want to stand in line, they wanted, because everything they do is fast. Everything they do is on their phone. They do their banking on the phone. They don't, they don't use checks. They use Apple Pay or whatever.
Right.
So everything is fast for them. This stuff about this mail-in voting that we're all having a fit about, all the older people, to them, that's going to be the thing of the future.
I agree with Maria 100% on this. My young adults, too, are really engaged, and most of them are extremely interested in the mail-in voting because it's a piece of cake.
Yep. And I think the next step is, voting by phone. And I know that that could set our hair on fire. But for them, they do their banking on, I mean, they do. I know we all do banking too, but I mean, they're doing everything on that phone. So they're looking for that foolproof way to vote, and it's coming.
Well, we were talking about the tracking system on the mail-in votes and how they, the system believes that there won't be as much fraud as people talk about, that the fraud element may be overblown in the media because of all the technology and tracking devices that exist. And if they're able to be confident in a mail-in system, at some point, they will be confident to be able to do it via phones as well. The question will be, will it be fair for people who don't have access to smartphones? For people, it also has to be fair. So there will be a lot to think about, but I mean, you could see where you could go on your TV remote control and hit a button and decide to vote, and hopefully people do their homework. But you do want, I mean, I personally want more and more people to vote. I don't want people not to vote because they're going to school in East Lansing, but their voting place is in Detroit. I don't want that to happen to somebody who wants to vote and wants to have their vote counted. So I think you're right. I think it will move in that direction, but I don't know how quickly that will be.
That remains to be seen, but I'm just telling you that is coming. As much as the older folks like us are just, so leery of it, they're used to it, and that's what's coming. I've sent out a bunch of feelers to the people that I know that are younger voters under 40, and I'm, asking them to just send me a text with their impressions tonight. I'd love to hear what they have to say. So hopefully we'll have something to share on that point tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Twitter's going to be burning up tonight.
Maybe we should all stay off Twitter. That can be a cesspool sometimes.
Tomorrow morning's show will be fun. We'll get a lot of different voices on to see what they heard, and it's always interesting to see if people heard it the same. The same thing's going to be said. Everyone's going to watch the same show, but people are going to hear it differently, and that will be fun to play that out tomorrow as well. But I think everybody's going to be watching tonight. I know we will be, and it's going to be quite a show. Hopefully we'll all learn what we're looking for. We'll find what we're looking for tonight. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. Let's check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business.
T-Mobile Business Advantage. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch. Stop by for details. Plus taxes and fees. Complete port within 60 days. Customers over 50 gigabytes per month have lower speeds, dirt congestion. Video at 480p. Unlimited on our network. See T-Mobile.com for details.
Accident along 94 westbound after Maross. That wreck there is blocking the right shoulder. Seeing a slow drive along 75 northbound between Big Beaver and Crooks. Also tapping the brakes southbound 75. Brake lights between 696 and 9 Mile. Now WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Reamer Floors. National Karastan Month is happening now at Reamer Floors. Lowest prices of the season, 36 months.
I'm going to go backstage, but you're good with Candace coming up here, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
The other thing is Candace will be probably more than happy to talk a little bit about tonight's debate too.
Yeah. I'll start her down that road.
Yeah, that with all of her political experience, it'll be interesting to see what what she's looking for.
Right.
And then the doctor is coming back at 8:35.
Okay.
DMC forgot to give him our number.
Oh, we had number issues today.
We're having some number issues today. You are correct. But yeah, so DMC called and said they were sorry, and I said, well, we just happen to have a nice spot for you at 8:35.
Pop in and have a do-over.
A do-over, yes. And then, let's see. I hope Candace will be calling here any minute.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch us tap dance for 8 minutes over the the Fraser sinkhole.
Well,
I'd watch that.
We can always, if there is an issue, Kev, we can open the lines and just see what people are. Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
we're in good shape. All right.
Never a doubt.
I like your confidence.
Timeshare owners, what I'm about to share may save you thousands of dollars. I'm Gordon Newton, president of the Newton Group and author of The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. In the last 15 years, I've heard everything imaginable from exit companies trying to get you to hire them. I've heard them advertise a money-back guarantee. The truth is, those guarantees fall flat time and time again as bad exit companies file for bankruptcy and take your money with them. I've heard them try to earn your trust, claiming they pioneered timeshare cancellation in 2008. The ugly truth is that's not possible. Newton Group has been leading the exit industry long before that. I've even heard exit companies pay celebrity endorsers to convince you they're experts. The truth is the experts at Newton Group wrote The Consumer's Guide to Timeshare Exit. Every year, timeshare owners lose millions of dollars by hiring the wrong exit company. If you want out of your timeshare, call Newton Group at 800-800-1764 for your free no-obligation consultation and free copy of the guide. That's 800-800-1764 or newtongroup.com.
Oxford Recovery Center has helped so many people with neurological and autoimmune diseases, like Jennifer, who has multiple sclerosis and Lyme disease. After years of traditional medicine, Jennifer turned to hyperbaric oxygen therapy at Oxford Recovery Center.
I just knew in my gut that I didn't want to go the route of the traditional MS drugs for the rest of my life. My intuition was just telling me to seek out alternative treatments.
Oxford helps their patients to heal, allowing more quality time to spend with family and loved ones.
So I have a teenage daughter who loves to shop. Before treatment, I took her to an outlet mall and I had to stay in the car while she ran into the different shops. And since I've started treatment, we tried it again and I was able to actually go into the stores with her and we could spend a nice mother-daughter day together, which was wonderful.
Let Oxford Recovery Center help give you or someone you know their quality of life back. Call to make an appointment today at their new Brighton facility or in Troy at 248-486-3636. That's 248-486-3636 or visit oxfordrecoverycenter.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Let me take you back in time a little bit to December 24th, 2016. You'll remember this as soon as I mention it because the visual was something you'll never forget. I'm talking about the sinkhole, that massive sinkhole on 15 Mile Road in Fraser. It had so much damage, so many concerns for homes in the area, for traffic in the area. A massive effort, emergency effort needed to be taken to get in there and try and fix that as quickly as possible. Well, today there's some new news on that sinkhole, and here to bring it to us is Candace Miller, the Macomb County Public Works Commissioner. Candace, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show today.
Hey, thanks, Kevin.
So
I appreciate you painting the picture there. That was a really an interesting time and actually happened about 4 days before I took office. So it was baptism by fire.
And it was quite a welcome to the office present and a nice Christmas present for everybody. Can you just remind us a little bit about how much of an impact that had, the different things that went on because of that massive sinkhole?
Well, it was an enormous impact in all negative ways. In fact, the governor declared an emergency. So it was probably the biggest certainly the biggest infrastructure disaster in Macomb County. I don't know about the entire state, but in our history, it was the biggest one. So, we had to get about the business of fixing it. They told me it'd be a 3-year project and it would cost $150 million. And we actually finished it in less than a year at half that amount, less than half that amount. So, we were happy with all of that. But then, I had a lot of people say, well, we're never going to know what happened. We'll never know because there's no evidence left. And I thought, well, what do you mean we're not going to know what happened? We need to know what happened so that it doesn't happen again. So what we did, we went out, we hired the best forensic engineer in the country, I think. We gave him all the information. He did all the data analytics, and he came up with a theory, his opinion, which I think was probably right. Actually, what was happening, Kevin, very quickly here is a couple of years before this happened, there was work being done on the pipe, the interceptor, over in the Oakland County side where it intercepts with ours. And guys were doing a wonderful job of work that needed to be done with great companies. So, but when they're in the pipe, you have to put these gates down to hold the wastewater flow back so they can work. And then when you release the flow, you have protocols you have to follow. It's just like a fire hydrant, right? I mean, enormous pressures otherwise. So just as an example, in one particular event in 2014, they released the flow rather than over about a 3-hour period in 2.5 minutes. This thing created a tsunami, and quite frankly, it was like a bomb went off right at the end of Eberline Drive, which is where these 2 houses fell into the sinkhole, right? 2.5 years later. So anyway, we think that's what happened. Unfortunately, my predecessor knew something had happened because manhole covers were blowing off and everything else. Keep in mind, this interceptor 65 foot below the ground, blowing up manhole covers and their concrete collars and that ought to tell you something, but they never inspected. And, it manifested itself in this sinkhole.
Do you think that was just a human error, a mistake, a lack of education to send all that water at one time through the system?
Yes, I think it was human error, and I would stress that these are all very good companies. I think these are all very good companies, and it was human error. But so you have insurance, right, when something happens.
Right.
So we really sued the insurance company is what we did. AIG was the insurance company. We sued them. And again, everybody told me, well, you're never going to get a dime because, you should have inspected. That was a exposure, of course. And then the statute of limitations. And so, that we thought, yes, we do have, that was not the best part for us. On the other hand, we thought we were able to demonstrate what the causation of this thing was. So we went ahead with the lawsuit. And again, it told me, oh, you're never going to get a dime, or if you get, $2 million, you better take the money and run. But this morning, I'm going to announce very proudly to the ratepayers of this interceptor system that we've actually won a $12.5 million award, which is the largest award in Macomb counties for the government in Macomb County's history. So we feel, pretty darn good about the efforts of our team, and it really was a team. Our folks at the Public Works Department and Joe Viviano was our attorney, Ben Aloya. Our guys we presented our case. We did the very best job that we could for our ratepayers, and we're feeling pretty good here today.
Well, so you had an estimate of 150 million. You got that down to 75 million. Now you got 12.5 million back from the lawsuit. You're going to end up with Public Worker of the Year award, Candace. That's some pretty good news, and we're happy to hear that. How did you get over the failure to inspect issue when it came down to the lawsuit?
Well, that's always rolling the dice because you had to say, well, what if we weren't able to settle here? So you go into court, right? Now you're in front of a jury and you have to convince a jury that even though this happened and even though you didn't inspect it, that, it didn't mean anything. So, I guess that's what happens with these things. Both sides, I was hoping maybe we'd get a little bit more, although I'm very happy with what we got. On the other hand, if we would have went into court, it would have probably been another 3 years before we got into court. My gosh, Kevin, I mean, this is enough with this sinkhole thing, right? Millions of dollars of, legal fees again and depositions, and then you get in there, and what if you lose and you get nothing? So we used our best judgment, and I think I think the outcome was great. And the truth is, we're not done with this stretch of pipe yet. because we just awarded a $28 million contract to line the rest of this pipe along 15 Mile Road, because I said we are never going to have another sinkhole like this. And we've, of course, we've inspected everything, and this has to be done. But with the money that we got with this award, and also we've had some money in reserves, and quite frankly, we've transformed the way we do business in this department. They never used to bid anything competitively. This bid actually was $7.7 million in the next lowest bid. So with all of these kinds of things, we're not even going to have an increase for our ratepayers because of this next project. So we feel good about that too.
I always like it when there isn't a settlement and it goes to court, because then there's depositions and people have to testify under oath, and it helps you find out things that you otherwise might not have found out, or it helps the public find out anyway. Do you feel like you did learn something from this process that will prevent anything like this from ever happening again?
Oh, yes. Believe me, we are all following very proper protocols now. Whenever work is done in a pipe, we're doing, by just inspecting the rest of this, what we call a drainage district, which was actually another 17 miles that we inspected, and we found various things. In fact, we spent about $3 million in the last year grouting this pipe. This is unreinforced concrete pipe, and we found, as we were inspecting, all kinds of what we call gushers and weepers, where there's other areas that were weak. The integrity of the pipe was degraded. And so we've done all of that kind of work. And I'll just give you an example. When I tell you this goes down to the ITC corridor, which is where the big transmission grids are, I mean, this pipe was not in very good shape under that. Could you imagine a sinkhole there? I mean, it's unimaginable.
Wow.
So, it might be underground, but it can't be out of mind. And we all need to be aware of what we have. I mean, this stuff is aging. So you have to inspect it. You have to have a capital improvements program. There's nothing really magical about this, but then you have to, budget your money, because somebody's got to pay for this. And we need to make sure we don't have to increase rates for the ratepayers if we don't have to.
All right, Candace Miller, we appreciate you checking in. Thanks. Great job. $12.5 million awarded in a lawsuit. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show this morning.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll be back with more after we check in with traffic and weather with our friend Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by T-Mobile for Business. T-Mobile Business Advantage. Get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans via bill credits when you switch, plus taxes and fees. Stop by for details. Over 50 gigabytes per month. Have lower speeds during congestion. Video at 480p. See T-Mobile.com.
Earlier accident, Kevin, is clear from 94 westbound after Moross at collision out of your way. Still seeing a slow ride 75 northbound between Big Beaver and Crooks. And construction has 2 lanes closed along 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck. That's in Roseville. Those left 2 lanes are shut down until 5 p.m. today. Stop and go from 94. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where not only do you pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease? Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with 0 interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it on Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City. GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet. Find new roads. Cloud cover once again today. Could see a slight chance of an afternoon shower. May see some peaks of sunshine if we get lucky. A high of only 62. Tonight, partly cloudy. Few showers after midnight. Your low 48. For Wednesday, hump day, clouds once again. Showers developing later in the day. A high of 66. Partly cloudy skies, 50 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Marie Osborne in 2 minutes.
Boyne Golf presents Michigan's Magnificent 10. 10 extraordinary courses set among 3 incredible resorts with plenty of wide open spaces where the extra long days let you play and play and play. And when you're done, a variety of amenities.
So who gets that money, Kev? Does the do the homeowners get some of that money, or is it directly just going to the county?
I think that goes to the county. I think that goes right back to the county.
To help them recoup some of the money that they spent on straightening out the issue?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, she is an all-star, isn't she?
She's so great. Unbelievable.
Yep.
And she's another one of those people like Chief Craig who comes on and just tells it like it is, good or bad.
Doesn't matter the issue. She addresses every issue, has no trouble telling you exactly how it is. Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. The whole 3 years, $150 million estimate down to 1 year and $75 million is pretty impressive.
Now, did the people who lost their homes, did they get any kind of money?
I think they got them fixed. I think the county fixed them at their expense. I don't remember exactly how that worked, but I remember at the time there's that street where about 3 or 4 went into the basically just like fell into the sinkhole, and I think they were compensated somehow. I don't know if it was through their private insurance or through the county. Maybe they were part. Maybe they were plaintiffs in the lawsuit as well. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. That press conference she's having is at like 10 o'clock today.
Yeah, it was nice. She wanted to announce it first on JR.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's really great.
So we have the doctor back, right?
The doc is coming back. That's what I was told. I'm hoping that is going to. Did you notice on the private chat how it has names above it?
Yeah, and yeah, so
Why is that?
It's not really coming from there, right? Is it? I don't know what.
It's all coming from Brian.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It usually doesn't, but that's interesting.
It's happened a lot in the last week, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that one that Greg, I told you about that story. It's a crazy story. We'll get him on tomorrow. But I don't remember where we had him. I thought we had him at like the 7 o'clock hour. He called in now. I don't know if you remember that or not. But.
Yes, I do. But what we could do is we could put them either in the 7 o'clock hour, or we could put them in the 6 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
We have Patty Poppy first thing tomorrow morning from Consumers Energy with news that they are releasing today.
Okay.
So if you wanted, you could see if they could go early, or I have a feeling a lot of tomorrow will be debate stuff.
I could text them and see if they want to go at 8:45, but I think we'd be better off to just try and figure them out early tomorrow.
Okay. Let's see here.
I said, Doctor.
Or you could tape them. This is a different doctor than what we had.
Yeah.
Replacing Dr. Elder. Oh my. Okay. Dr. Robert Cleaver, pronounced Cleaver. Okay. Dr. Robert Cleaver. What's his title?
Doctor.
Doctor. What's his specialty? How's that? Specialty. What's his specialty? Here we go. I think we've had him on before. Dr. Robert Cleaver. Okay.
With BMC anyway, right?
Yes, he's from DMC, but I'm pretty sure we've talked to him before. Robert Cleaver. Okay, same as Dr. Elrod, and Dr. Elrod, emergency department physician, emergency room physician at DMC Detroit Receiving. Emergency room physician, Detroit Receiving. Okay. Okay, beautiful. I'll be back.
All right.
It'll be interesting to talk to Frank because Frank knows a lot about politics. So I want to hear what he's watching for tonight.
Right.
Frank and I used to make bets in the newsroom on politics over the years, and it was pretty even usually. Yeah, sometimes he won, sometimes I won. But one time he had to make me a really fancy dinner at his house, and he's an excellent cook.
Really?
Yeah, and he even made homemade creme brulee.
And if you had lost, was that what you were going to have to do as well?
Yes. Yes.
That's excellent.
Jugs. And refreshment doesn't stop at water. AbsoPure is your go-to provider for a delicious assortment of coffee and coffee goods to power your workday. Whether it's by the pot or by the cup, they have the brand you love with the service you expect. Let AbsoPure make staying hydrated and fueled the easiest part of getting back to business. Visit absopure.com/WJR or call 1-800-4-ABSOPURE to learn more about AbsoPure products and to sign up for safe, convenient, zero-contact delivery service. That's absopure.com/WJR or call 800-4-ABSOPURE.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
As health professionals put out warnings of a possible second wave of COVID-19, there is a new national poll that says 1 in 3 parents plan to skip flu shots this year. 1 in 3 parents planning to skip flu shots this year. What impact will that have? Joining us now is Dr. Robert Cleaver, Emergency Department Physician at DMC. Doctor, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kevin.
So, yeah, we were talking a little bit about the flu shot, and, typically people go get them so they don't get the flu. Sometimes people are afraid of getting a flu shot thinking it will give them the flu. But this year, it's really a different kind of a year because some people I talk to, they will tell me that they don't think the flu is going to be a problem this year because they're wearing masks, they're social distancing, they're washing their hands all the time, and they don't think they're going to get the flu, so they don't feel like they need a flu shot. On the other hand, some people I talk to say, I haven't been out and about much, so I haven't been in much contact, so I'm not sure if I've built up any natural resistance to getting sick this year, and maybe this year I need a flu shot more than any other year. What are you seeing as far as flu shots go, and what are you recommending?
Well, I kind of answer those are both a little bit two separate things. One is that the flu and COVID-19 are two separate disease processes. I guess the similar, if you say you don't need one, you don't need the other. That's analogous to saying I don't need to wear my seatbelt because I have airbags in my car. As far as the flu vaccine going, we have, especially early on when it was still flu season in March and April, we had a fair amount of co-infections, and unfortunately those people were very, very ill, which I think led to the increased mortality rate in the beginning. But as far as the flu vaccine, we're just getting around. I got mine about 2 weeks ago. And, I do understand to a degree people not wanting to get it. Nobody really wants the needle, but when you just look at the science and the data and the numbers, what we most want is people to be safe. And therefore, we advocate for everybody above the age of 6 months who does not have any contraindications of the flu vaccine to get a flu vaccine.
And as far as people having concerns about going out to get a flu shot, they're really not at any more risk of catching COVID than going to the grocery store or somewhere else, as long as they follow their protocols. And I'm not trying to mix COVID with the flu shot here, but I think that some people just don't want to go out unless they have to. And the question is, do you have to get a flu shot or not?
What I would say to that is that I agree with you that I don't think going out to get a flu shot is any more or less safe than doing anything else. Actually, I would say it's a little bit more safe knowing that, when people come into the hospital, we have screening places to check your temperature. If you don't have a mask will be provided, and they give you hand sanitizer, which I don't think are all provided at all the grocery stores and the other places. So I would say going to the hospital in some degree is a little bit safer than going to the grocery store. So I would recommend that people go out. I do believe that I hope that we'll have a milder flu season because of the masks and the social distancing and the people using the hand sanitizer. But make no bones about it, the flu is still very dangerous. Still, a lot of people die from the flu. We want to prevent people from having the flu, period, and then especially more so in the year 2020, 2021.
Does the weather play a role in how bad the flu season is, or is it simply what strain gets out and how quickly it's passed around?
I don't think the weather has. I don't think weather plays as much of a role as people think it does. What ends up happening during the wintertime is we're just in a little bit closer quarters where, you may, take the dog out for a long walk. You don't do that as much, and the other things that you would spend some time going outside, watching your kids' sports games, walking the beach, all those things happen a little bit less, and our personal interactions happen a little bit more with the holidays and everything else.
And when people ask you how likely is a flu shot to keep me from catching the flu, do we know any actual numbers, how well they actually work?
That's a pretty difficult question to answer. The flu shot is pretty effective, and they have different types of strains of the flu. And the most common flu is the H1N1 flu that people have heard about. And that the year of the H1N1, the flu vaccine wasn't too effective against preventing you from getting that. What the flu vaccine was very, very much effective at is if you catch that H1N1 or any of the other types of flus, H3N2, it prevents you from being as sick, it prevents you from being as sick as long, and it prevents your viral shedding or the degree that you can transmit the virus to somebody else. So for all those reasons, all those positive reasons, with the added benefit that we think that it probably can prevent the flu too, even if they miss it, and instead of being H1N1, maybe it's H1N2, it'll help prevent that too. We recommend getting the flu vaccine, and that's why since 2008, I've been getting the flu vaccine every year.
That's awesome. Okay. And in addition to getting the flu shot, what else can people do to help themselves from not catching the flu or from not getting sick?
Well, I think people just need to be diligent in, wearing their masks and their hand sanitizers and social distancing. Those things, the flu is a respiratory airborne virus as well. And all that helps prevent that. And, we're hoping that we'll see what they saw in Australia. For those that don't know, Australia, they're just going from their winter into their spring. So the opposite of us, that their flu season was relatively mild compared to previous years. And we as healthcare providers and, stewards of patient health, we really do hope that we have something similar. So all the things that help with the transmission of COVID, we're hoping will help with the flu as well. And we really, really don't want to see these co-infections because unfortunately those patients are going to be becoming pretty sick with both the flu and COVID.
All right, so go out and get your flu shot. Dr. Robert Cleaver from DMC, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show this morning. All right, we will be back with more after a quick break. Right now, we're going to check traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Everstream, the business-only fiber network. At Everstream, the business-only fiber network, they believe business deserves better. Everstream's full-service approach to business connectivity delivers the speed and reliability that businesses demand. Everstream, faster fiber, better business.
Accident just reported in Springfield Township, 75 southbound after East Tolley Road. Accident there is blocking the left shoulder. Still seeing a slight delay because of construction along 696 westbound between Gratiot and Groesbeck. Slow from 94. Your left two lanes are closed until 5 p.m. today. Now, WJR Weather first from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Gordon Chevrolet. Gordon Chevrolet, where you not only pick your payment, but now pick your program. Need to pull ahead your lease? Do you need GM employee pricing or a low payment with zero interest? Let Gordon Chevrolet help you find it. On Ford Road, just west of Merriman in Garden City, GordonChevrolet.com. Gordon Chevrolet, find new roads.
That'll be cool here as we head through the next couple of days with a reinforcing shot of chilly air coming on in. Clouds mixed with sunshine this morning. See a little more cloud later today, 63. Tonight, a few clouds around 48. Suburbs a little bit cooler. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 60s. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagicon, News Talk 760 WJR.
Continental Structural Plastics Advanced Composites enable vehicle designs unattainable in metal. From the drawing board to the road, CSP turns cool concepts into reality. Infinite possibilities, brought to you by CSP, a Tajan Group company. Learn more at cspplastics.com.
If you're thinking about replacing your windows, I want you to think about plastic. That's right, plastic. Most windows are made out of vinyl, which is just a fancy word for plastic. You know, the same thing they make those flimsy, cheap outdoor chairs from. Plastic. The same thing you put your sandwich in, or they make water bottles from. Plastic. Even expensive composite windows are really just plastic, made with wood. Plastic window frames will expand and contract, and expand and contract, and eventually warp in Michigan's nasty weather blender. Here's a better idea. Call Performance Remodeling for heavy-duty fiberglass windows that won't warp, won't bend, and won't lose their shape. They look fantastic and come with real lifetime guarantees. We can do that because they're made from fiberglass, not plastic. Call Performance Remodeling today at 586-540-6000 or online at windowsroofingsiding.com and replace all the windows in your house for as little as $2 a day. $2 a day. That's 586-540-6000 or online at windowsroofingsiding.com.
Mommy, can you help me with my math?
Hey, sorry, I'm about to start a call. Where's your father?
Hey, bud, I'll be right there. Give me a second with Mommy. Have you seen this mailer from Gary Peters?
Who?
Gary Peters.
Should I know him?
Apparently, he's our senator, and now it's an election year, so I'm sure he hopes so.
Some senator he is.
Yeah, I've seen the ads and decided to look things up myself. Turns out he's pretty much the invisible man.
The invisible man?
Yeah, he's been a politician in Michigan for 30 years.
Oh, he must have done something for us in that time.
Sure, if you count voting to raise our taxes 106 times.
He voted to take our money.
Yeah, and get this, he skipped work while getting rich in public office, blew off 84% of small business hearings and 80% of hearings on pandemic preparedness while doubling his personal wealth.
And now he wants our vote.
Dad!
Okay, I'm coming.
Hank has joined the meeting.
Hey, Hank, you won't believe what I just heard about Gary Peters.
Who? I'm John James. I'm running for the Senate, and I approve this ad.
Paid for by John James for Senate.
I'm attorney Mark Bernstein. When you need help, you turn to family, and we are family.
When you're hurt, scared, and confused, you need someone you can trust.
They're family, and they treated me like family.
I'd call Beth, I'd call Mark, I could call Sam. I feel like the whole family's there for me.
They actually care about the results and wanting to do the best possible job they can for you.
They're a family working together to help people like you and me.
1-800. Call Sam.
Paid for by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm.
Help solve food insecurity in Michigan. Hear thought leaders from across the state on Food First Michigan with Dr. Phil Knight and Jerry Brisson. Sunday nights at 9 on WJR, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance of Michigan and the Food Bank Council of Michigan.
Attention SSI and other federal benefit recipients. If you did not file a tax return last year and have children under 17, you must act now to get the $500 economic impact payment per child this year. You must provide the IRS your child's information by September 30th. Go to irs.gov and use the non-filer tool by September 30th. That's irs.gov. This message produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening.
Sure.
Who's able to hear more than what's being said and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
At Beaumont, we're always ready for change. So when our community needs us, we create change to serve you even better. One person on the front line of that change is Dr. Chris Wilson.
2020 has been challenging, but as physical therapists, we know we can't change the past, only build toward the future. So whether it's offering virtual appointments or online exercise videos, we adapt to get our patients the care they need safely.
At Beaumont, we know change is constant, but the only thing that won't change is our commitment to you.
Hi, this is Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle. These past few months have been anything but normal. We've faced challenges we've never experienced before. Yet, due to everyone's efforts, progress has been made. Infection and hospitalization counts are down, and the death rate is extremely low. Together, we have flattened the curve. But remember, continue to follow CDC guidelines to keep you and your family safe. For more information, go to macombgov.org.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Well, everybody's getting fired up about tonight's debate at 9 o'clock. Here's some of the things that are being most Googled about the debate. Will there be a live audience? Yes, there will be, about 75 to 80 people, much smaller than normal. That's because of COVID. What else are people Googling? Does Joe Biden have dementia? Has Joe Biden agreed to be drug tested? Is Fox News really fair and balanced? Does the winner of the debate automatically become president? Well, no, but the winner of the debate may end up becoming president. We'll have to wait and see. Joining us now on the line is Frank Beckman. Frank, you going to be watching tonight?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be up all night watching this thing, and I've got my own questions for what I'm going to be seeing on the screen, Kevin. I want to know. I'm going to count how many times Joe Biden loses his train of thought. I'm going to count the number of times Donald Trump laughs at Joe Biden. Let's see. Let's give a point if we find that Joe Biden has misquoted COVID stats. If Donald Trump says the word huge, if his hair flutters. Let's see. We're going to count every time the vice president starts a sentence with the word look or listen. And every time he gives an incorrect gun fact, we'll put a point against him too. So just a little game to play tonight. To keep yourself occupied. There will be much more serious moments in the debate, of course, and the outcome of this debate may very well decide who the next president is. Let's face it.
Will it be easier to fact check the number of true things that are said, or fact check the number of false things that are said?
Oh, I think it's easier to fact check the false things. I think that's true of politics in general, don't you, though? Things get exaggerated, things get misstated for political benefits. And so, I mean, if we had to fact check everything a politician said, we'd run out of time in a hurry. We'd get no sleep, Kev.
So how do you think they're going to handle it? Do you think, typically Donald Trump does best with a big rally. He feeds off the crowd.
Sure.
This is not going to be that situation. You're going to have Chris Wallace and about 75 onlookers there. He's going to have to pretty much talk to Joe Biden and Chris Wallace. Do you think he will try and be fiery like he is at a rally, or will he try and be more presidential perhaps? What do you expect out of President Trump?
I think it'll be more an individualized approach, that his remarks will be aimed straight at Joe Biden. And I think obviously we know what Joe Biden's shortcomings are and what he has to guard against in the debate tonight when he is speaking. And those are the malprops, the flaws in his speech, and all those sorts of things. But for Donald Trump, I think it's important that he not come across as somebody who is who's picking on someone who cannot help his condition, And so I think that's a danger for Donald Trump if he gets too tough with Joe Biden, is that he comes across as a real bully to everybody, including his own supporters this time.
People are going to be watching Biden very closely to see if he can keep his train of thought. Like you said, the president calls him Sleepy Joe. Do you think Biden has to come out with some fire in his belly and put on a performance, or does he have to just not make any big mistakes?
Yeah, I think the second one for sure, not make the big mistakes, but he still has time to come out of the sleepy phase and shake that. And I don't think he can do that overnight. Do you, Kev? I don't think, one debate showing and you say, oh, he's back, he's got all of his faculties again. But it sure helps in building that mantra of it was all a fake story in the first place. I never had dementia. So it's an opportunity for him and also for us to find out what's true.
I'm glad it's 90 minutes. I think that's enough time to watch the two of them and see how they are able to stand up to 90 minutes of serious, thoughtful talk to see if they're with it or not, I guess.
Yeah, and gives us a lot more fodder for tomorrow morning, remember? So that's good, too.
For sure. Do you think we're going to see the October surprises pop in? Are they going to talk about Donald Trump's taxes and the Hunter Biden report?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it, especially Trump's taxes, because that's been an issue all along where Dems have wanted to show the world Donald Trump's tax returns, and he's resisted them. And, I think that's going to be an issue here in the next month and a half or so, don't you?
I do. I think it's going to trickle out slowly. It looks like the New York Times has already said, every couple of days we're going to have another story. That kind of bothers me a little bit. If they have
a lot, the IRS is leaking tax returns. I don't care whose they are to the New York Times. Are you kidding me?
No, I don't mean that. I just mean the way that if they have something that has the president caught cold, then they ought to report it immediately and not say, oh, well, here's a little bit of it and we'll have a little bit more next week for you. And we'll dribble this out all the way to the election. But yeah, obviously the fact that they have them at all is terribly troubling for sure.
Yeah, a lot to talk about there too. Hey, good to be with you, my friend. Good job as usual, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, enjoy the debate tonight.
All right, thanks for popping on, and we're looking forward to your show. And we'll get right to that right after the break. But first, let's check in with traffic and weather with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by MGM Grand Detroit. At MGM Grand Detroit, they can't wait to see you again. They look a little different as they've made changes for your health and safety to ensure your visit will still be a grand time. They hope to see you soon. And remember to always mask up. 21 plus.
Traffic first sponsored by Reamer Floors. National Kerosene Month is happening now at Reamer Floors. Lowest prices of the season, 36-month financing, and an instant rebate up to $1,000 on Kerosene carpet, hardwood, and look.
All right. Looks like Brian's going to log off here.
Trying to.
Is that going to affect us? I don't know.
No. Well, it may stop going live, but we won't disappear until